Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 306. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Johnny V here on our regular Wednesday night.
Where we've always been, actually, let's not lie to the folks. We're normally here on Tuesday nights.
All right, yes.
But this is a special week in that it's day savings time.
Yes, and
which is why we're back 1 hour only. In the United States. Everywhere else, we're tomorrow.
And it's double champion night. No, triple champion night tonight. Sorry, yes. I don't want to misspeak. We've got 3 champions joining us all from this weekend. Super excited to have Dynamite. He's going to be joining us in literally just a few moments here. After we talk to Dynamite for a little while, we will catch up with 2-time world champion and Silver Cup champion Ricky Wysocki. And then we'll move over to our headliner, Lisa Fajkus, who's also a champion at the Silver Cup this weekend. And maybe even more so dramatic fashion than what we saw on the MPO side. Lisa in there battling it out with a great field, and there's a great field on the MPO side, but Ricky had a little more room to breathe and take care of some business over there. So super excited for you guys to join us. If you're wondering why in the world is it Wednesday night this week that we're coming to you, Johnny V had some work to do down in Texas for his regular 9 to 5 IT job.
It was so hot in Texas. They were actually calling it a hot spot. And I'm not exactly sure what that means, but it was really warm down there.
As long as you were just like getting the culture and intermingling with as many people as possible, that's what you want to do. You want to really, embrace the culture. And
everybody showed me the special handshake where you lick your hand and then shake it.
Yeah,
and
that's the
what
they call that the old Texas salt lick.
No, in all seriousness, yes, I was down in Houston, just outside in Katy, Texas. I was doing my 9 to 5 IT work down there. I was very, very safe, wearing a mask everywhere. The only time I actually stepped foot in any other place that wasn't either my office or my hotel was when I went to a Torchy's Tacos.
You would.
And for dinner, where I sat away from everybody else. I mean, there was only like 5 people in the entire place, so it wasn't that difficult. And the only reason I stayed in there is because I was able to order an alcoholic drink in there. And I didn't ask, but I don't think they were to let me take it on the road. But I don't know because it's Texas.
They got special rules there.
100%. So I didn't know, but I wanted to have a drink one night after work. So I sat down and had 2 tacos and some, whatever their first option was. I'm like, yeah, just give me that one. And the guy's like, okay. And I sat there and drank it. I quickly went back to my hotel after I drank it. And then I kind of got like, I was actually feeling relatively warm, and I'm like, oh, geez, I'm like kind of heating up. What's going on? And I realized I drank my alcohol a little too fast.
I was just going to say.
It was literally just like
the Texas Bahama Mama you had. A couple of them.
It was just one.
I don't know.
But that's what it was. I actually took a Tums because my tummy was a little upset. And I felt better like 5 minutes later. I'm like, okay, cool. It was just the alcohol. I am not contracting COVID. But I didn't even have, I turned my my hotel do not disturb on, so I did not get room service at all.
Some aren't even offering it.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I don't know if this one, I can't say for sure if they were. I saw them down the hallway, but they could have been clearing out someone who was just leaving. I wanted to be extra safe for obvious reasons. So, and I'm happy to be back, and I'm sorry I couldn't do it last night, but we're here tonight, and we're ready to go with Dana.
We are. So without further ado, coming all the way after that big win. He won so big this weekend, he's bought himself a new house with that disc golf rich money. Welcome to the show, Dynamite, Dana Vicich. You still slumming it at that old place? What are you going to do? Just throw some discs into the walls and be like, psh, I don't need this? What are you doing?
Yeah, hanging out in a pretty empty Manuka house here. We're, I'd say 95% out. Got a few random things here, some clothes and some of that kind of stuff, and then some cleaning to do. And we're closing is on Friday here, so got a little bit of time to get out of here, but hoping to knock most of that out tomorrow. It's been it's a lot of work to move, boys.
I was just gonna ask, did you your house is sold?
Yes.
Okay, so who cares how you leave it, right? I mean,
You don't need to clean it. Just like maybe
Oh.
kind of just take a broom to the corners to get those spider webs down. You're good enough. Leave them a disc. Seriously, leave them a disc.
Yeah.
Like a good call. Just find some one of your dynamite discs.
Yeah.
The Rolling Thunder, and put that in the basement and just set it there, and with a little
with
note
a spotlight on it.
and a spotlight. Yes, buy a spotlight and put it on there, and leave that for them, and just be like, Dana was here. Just saying.
I like it. Maybe I'll bury one in the yard.
You could do that too.
No,
I mean,
I don't know.
You could.
Bad idea.
Yeah, probably.
All right, Dynamite. We're gonna get.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, let's get right to it. First and foremost, before we talk to these other Silver Series winners, you got a new trophy for the new house on the new mantle.
Wow.
On the new wall, whatever it all is. Tell us about this weekend for you, buddy. We want you to brag and elaborate here. What went down?
Yeah, I played in the Illinois State Disc Golf Championships, 38th annual. So this is a long-running event. Wasn't sure if it was going to happen this year, but Jesse Sands and the crew stepped up. The doctor, the Delwood guys, bunch of volunteers, and they ended up running a slam dunk of a tournament. Switched the format from split divisions over 2 days to a 2-day tee time event. So try to adhere to some social distancing. So they did a pretty good darn good job in a pandemic year. Had a ton of sponsors. A lot of locals stepped up. It was a real group effort, and we had the legends, all the old school guys helping with the event as they always do, and then the new school of the Delwood crew and all those people. They put on a great show. It was a lot of fun. Had a little hiccup in the weather day one, about an hour rain delay, big storms, but other than that, it was smooth sailing for disc golf. I think there was like 350 players, or maybe even a little bit higher than that, but somewhere in that 350 range.
Yeah, and just incredible effort it takes to put something on of that size. So let's first start with your division, your play, and then I want to also quickly touch on Hall of Famers and the ceremony that probably took place over there, that I know took place over there. But how deep did the open field run, and did I hear you made a pressure putt on the final hole to win it?
Yeah. There was 57 open players, and after the first round, good friend Paul Oman had a nice little cushion on the field, 2 strokes on second place. I think there was 3 or 4 people that were behind him, and then a bunch of us were 3 off of Paul. So the second and third cards were all within striking distance going into day 2 at a pretty difficult course, Highland Park in Joliet, Illinois. But yeah, Paul Oman shredded the canyons, long tees over there on day 1, and I played really well that first day. A lot of par 4s out there, and I birdied them all, but I didn't get any birdie 2s. I only got a couple birdie 2s, so I had a really good round. Just didn't score on those shorter ones or some of those trickier par 3s, but nonetheless, solid round. And yeah, going into that second round, I came out really hot. Made a bunch of good putts, caught an eagle, down the stretch, it wasn't going that great for me. I had a 3-putt, and then I had to scramble like I've never scrambled before on a few holes, and then I got a 6 on a really difficult par 4. Just decent drive, bad shot, 3-putt, that rolled down a cliff and across way too far away.
Wait a minute. Did the rest of your division quit? Is this how you? how do you pull off a win, giving all these strokes away?
Like I said, I started out.
He literally told Paul Oman it was an 18-hole round when it was 21. So Paul walks off, and Dana goes and plays the last 3.
Okay.
Yeah, and honestly, since I finished so poorly, I did make a birdie putt on the last hole, 25-footer. I knew it was probably, going put me in contention or in thereabouts. Made it, and I thought a couple other guys on my card had beaten me because they had played really well on those holes that I had faltered on down the stretch and getting birdies and pars when I was taking some large numbers that I can't even count on one hand. But yeah, watched the lead card come in. Paul had told me during a backup that no one was shooting all that great, so I knew it was within the realm of winning. And then we tallied up my scorecard, and I had the low score on my card, so I was the leader in the clubhouse, and it was just waiting on that lead card to come in, and they didn't have the best of rounds, and I was next thing I know, I'm Illinois State disc golf champion.
How many times have you been Illinois State champion? Is this the first?
Awkward.
First, I've got a second place in advanced. I've got probably multiple seconds in open, thirds, fourths. I've got everything. I've played some really good disc golf, just haven't been able to seal the deal over the years. And I think this year, what really helped me was we shifted with the shift of format. We got to play the long tees at Dellwood, which turned it from like a deuce or die to some difficult disc golf where you had to make some really, really good shots and sometimes multiple shots on those par fours. So that style generally suits me a little bit better than having to do 14, 15 holes on a 24-hole round. But we moved it to the 18 holes of the long tees, and it set up nicely for me.
And I just want to say, Smashbox is really nothing but champions here. I mean, just whatever division you pick.
Yeah.
Dana, Terry, me.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Lisa and Ricky.
So easy.
Gosh, if you want to win in disc golf, in whatever division you're in, you need to be on Smashbox.
Yeah, that's how you do it, Dana.
Yeah.
It looks like, funny, I just quickly Googled. I didn't know if I had played that or something else in Illinois, and sure enough, I played in the 20th annual, so I'm dating myself a little.
And this was this
was the 38th this weekend. I played in the 20th annual. It looks like I finished one stroke out of cash.
Was I in? Did I play that one as well?
We'll see.
I would have
been.
Definitely would have been AM.
Oh, Johnny V was there. Shot a 152 on the day.
In advance.
We don't need to get too far. In advanced.
That was 18th out of 44 back in the day. That wasn't bad.
Anyway, not to sidetrack here, Dana, but
a little bit.
You were born by then, so yeah. 18 years ago, Dana.
Yeah, I wasn't playing frisbee back then.
No, you
I was
weren't.
playing probably frisbee, but not disc golf. It was a monkey off my back. I feel I'm grateful to have won it. It's something that means a lot to me. I've always wanted to win that title and be the best player in Illinois. And right now, there's just so many good disc golfers, and unfortunately, some of the best disc golfers went up to Silver Cup this last weekend. Gavin Rathbun, the Earhart Bros, Danny Beauchamp. Those guys are all like A+, really, really good disc golfers. I think Tom Earhart just jumped up to 1020 with this rating update. So, but the field was still stout. It had all the locals that were always there, all the top players in the state, and as I mentioned, the legendary Paul Oman came up from Evansville, Indiana. So it was a fun weekend. On the FPO side, got to give a shout out to hometown friend Casey Glade. I think it was her fifth overall state title across a number of divisions. So she played good. Beat Barrett White. Very, very difficult to do.
Saw that Barrett was just inducted into the Illinois Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and I was going to say this was also they also had the Hall of Fame induction for the 2020 class of here in Illinois. This is the second class. It started last year, mostly from the hard work of Tom McManus and some other behind the scenes guys, Mike Krupika, Brett Comensoli, Wilbur. They're all involved in it. But yeah, we had a great Hall of Fame class inducted. I unfortunately was still playing or finishing up my round while they did the ceremony, so I didn't get to catch that. I'm actually pretty bummed about that, but there is some video up of that. But being inducted was Paul McAllister, his hometown is New Lenox, Illinois, also Ashley's hometown. But he established the Joliet Frisbee Guild and the West Park Flyers. So old school, basically the father of Joliet disc golf. Also inducted Terry Batten out of Sterling, Illinois. A very famous course. Terry and Johnny, I'm sure you guys have played in the past. The Sinisippi I'm talking about. I played there a few weeks back. Just a beautiful park. Awesome course.
That was always the 4th of July event.
Yeah, right around then.
That was almost always.
We were there a few times.
Yeah, one of my favorite drives in general, because like I said, that weekend driving home from Illinois to Milwaukee, you would just watch fireworks all the way home on all these country roads, and it was so much fun. Also, where I saw John Knutson do a K-stomp on his bag for the first time. So
and not the last.
Not the last.
The K-stomp.
That's where you get really frustrated and your bag's sitting there. And that was before the grip bag, so it was just like a Revolution bag, and double foot stomp on top of his bag. And now, granted, he weighed about 87 pounds, so the discs probably hurt him more. But just throwing it back old school.
Yeah. Who else in the Hall of Fame? Barrett, you mentioned?
Yeah, he was such a sweet kid. I do like John. He's good people. Marshall Hopkins, father of the Peoria area. He was the big mover and shaker down in Peoria. If you go to Ledgestone, you'll usually see Marshall wandering around at some point. He's good people. I've met him. I think I met him, I don't know, 5 to 8 years ago, and it was a real pleasure, and I always enjoy catching up with him. And then, of course, Barrett White, as we mentioned. Barrett's out of Forest Park, Illinois, and yeah, if you know Barrett or you ever see her, she's just loving life, loving disc golf, having a good time, and generally kicking some butt. Didn't quite kick enough butt to get the victory and the Hall of Fame induction this weekend, but she's won it. I don't even want to know how many events she's won, but quite a few. So shout out to all those great players for their contributions to disc golf, specifically Illinois disc golf, and also to those Hall of Fame organizers that I mentioned earlier. It's good that Illinois is, we're catching up. I think we're going to try to continue to induct somewhere in that 4 or 5 range until we catch up on all those deserving players of the past that should be in the Hall of Fame. And then maybe it'll be a couple players a year type of thing. We'll see.
Yeah. I was thinking about the Hall of Fame taking place this weekend, and I saw a few comments and pictures and whatnot, and I've talked to Tom McManus, just thinking that even being in a state adjacent to you guys, when I'm recognizing some of the names and some of the people that are in your Hall of Fame, like, there's just been so impactful for so many decades. And, some of the people you just mentioned, of course, I don't know every single person from, back 25 or 30 years ago necessarily. But when you think about people like Barrett White, Terry Batten, some of these people that I even, got to get to know or attended their events or played on their courses, it just speaks volumes about all those people and what they've done and accomplished, that they've transcended decades and generations, which is exactly why they're deserving and should be in your Hall of Fame. So it's awesome to see. Very, very cool. All right, Dynamite. Well, and also not to end it, so to speak, on a negative note, but it's surprising for Barrett not to win. And that's not to say anything about Casey, who's obviously a great player as well. Just Barrett typically owns disc golf in the FPO division, even though she's eligible a few age-protected divisions otherwise. And so to see her not be able to pull off kind of the double whammy on the weekend was maybe a little bit surprising, but also huge accolades and congrats to Casey. Clearly played well to anyone that gets the best of Barrett had a great weekend is, I guess, a good way to put it.
Sure. And Casey, Casey's she's up to 889. 54 career events, 28 career wins. She's been playing in the open division this for the most part lately, and getting some wins locally at doubles. She plays in the men's divisions and is constantly cashing. She's a really good disc golfer, great person. She's She works over at the Morris Hospital. She's a nurse over there. So shout out to our healthcare workers. She's taking care of people during the week and kicking butt on the disc golf course over the weekend.
Yeah, awesome to see. So, any parting shots here for us, Dana, before we continue on? Sounds like you've got some dishes to pack up yet. Ashley's like, all right, enough of your excuse to stop packing. Time to cut them loose. Any parting shots?
No, just thanks for having me. And again, just thanks to all those Illinois pioneers of disc golf that have done so much and did so much, and the ones that continue to, like some of these guys have been working on the Illinois State Disc Golf Championships for 38 years. Some of this, it's the same crew that comes out, but we're getting some new blood in there. So just shout out to all those guys, and I'm looking forward to hearing what some of these other winners that you guys got coming on tonight have to say, because it's I know for me, it's been a minute since I've been in the winner's circle in a PDGA event. I've won some unsanctioned stuff, but it's been some years. So I know it hasn't been years for Ricky and Lisa, but it has been. I think it has been a minute since a meaningful win for both of them, if memory serves. So I'd be interested to hear how they take that win and what that does to this middle. Is this the middle stretch of the season, or are we in the
we'll call it the COVID stretch. It's all COVID. Who knows?
We're early middle. Like it's
I still don't understand how we're in the Midwest. But anyway, all right, Dana. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Good luck on the continued packing and cleaning up over there, and look forward to talk to you probably early next week.
Yeah, maybe from the new place.
Yeah, get that internet fired up.
No,
Oh, that's right.
We're doing the floors and stuff, so we can't move in for a week or so, and painting and all that. So it's a situation.
Well, I look forward to the new studio with the big SmashBoxx painting on the wall and Terry and I's picture. So
yeah,
we'll see that in a couple weeks.
We'll get that sent to you.
All right. Thanks, Dynamite.
All right, see you, Dana. See you. All right, Dynamite, your champion this weekend. Congratulations to him.
Do you think he was more careful with the dishes or the discs when he moved?
I mean, if you break a dish, you can replace it. Mm-hmm. If you bend or warp or really taco or just yank on a disc, it may not be fixable, like truly ever back to its original form in the way that you'd like it to be. So, yeah, I think you'd want to be more careful with the discs, but what do I know?
Well, we know that you don't know a lot, which is
all
great.
Right. Well, as you line up our next guest, I see him coming in from the Disc Baron Digital Green Room. We're going to get Ricky Wysocki on here in just a few moments. Rick, if you want to turn your phone, rotate it, it will automatically fill up more of the screen. That looks great, like a professional that this guy is. And I think if you're ready to go, we're ready to go. We're going to welcome to the show Silver Cup champion, Ricky Wysocki. What up, Rick?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How are you doing?
How are you doing?
Good. I'm just in Indiana right now, getting ready for the next tournament. I'm playing the A tier this weekend in Indiana.
You are just in, like, I don't know how you're even sitting down without your foot on the gas pedal, because it seems like you're just zipping around everywhere. You were doing all these things in Wisconsin, then you had to, I know you had some stuff going on last night in Illinois. Then you rushed down to Indiana. You're playing this weekend in Indiana. Are you firing on all cylinders or what?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's been a lot of off time, so there's no reason to take a weekend off when we just had months and months off. So we had an off season. We played like 2 or 3 tournaments, and we had a couple more months off. So I don't see the point in needing a break. I hadn't played enough tournaments to get burned out yet. So that's kind of why I'm practicing. I'm trying to play as many as I can, and who knows, we may get canceled again. So I'm getting canceled again. So I'm getting in as many as I can while I can.
That's a really valid point, because we don't know what's going to happen in the next month or so. We could get 1 more event in, 3 more events in, or we could finish off the season, depending on. And every state is different. So
and I have a call into the Illuminati. They're keeping me updated, but I can't share that, of course, with everyone yet. Not here. So
I've got nanobots back here. We're all right.
So, in all seriousness, you really bring up a great point about whether it's stamina or conditioning or excitement or all of those things. Tell us where you are physically with any ailments or any kind of recovery, or how you're feeling, just top to bottom. How are you feeling physically?
I'm honestly, I'm 100%. I mean, at Waco, when I was doing press conferences with the Pro Tour, I basically told them I was at 40, 50%. I mean, It takes a lot for me to actually to publicly say that I'm hurting, because I don't like to be one to make excuses or for something to happen. So I'm 100%. I mean, yeah, like the preserve, I didn't play very well. It was just something to where I felt good. It wasn't like I was hurting or anything. I just had a bad week, and then after that, I really felt like I was onto something with my mental game, with my putt, with everything. So there's a lot of things that clicked between Preserve and Silver Cup that week, and it's something to where I think I can add that part to my game. My putting, my mental game has been strong the whole last week. So, and I'm playing this week to really test that again. So I'm really using this week as another tester to see if I can stay consistent like I know I can.
That was going to be my exact question. You said you feel like something clicked from the Preserve, where you had a very un-Ricky-like performance, just to put it out there. You know that. But
yeah.
It's just not like you. And then to come back and play so strong, to battle the way you did, to take down Calvin, and, of course, a really solid field there. Did you extra practice putt? Did just something in your mind click? Like, what did you do to make that adjustment?
Or was it the course? Did you just enjoy the course more than the Preserve?
I'd won the tournament before. The only 2 times I played the event, I've won it. So I definitely feel comfortable playing out there. I think the hole set up really well for me. No, I think, my putting, a timing thing that I've kind of just messed around with in practice that clicked. You're always changing slightly your putting here and there, and sometimes it's you go into a tournament and you're not really 100% confident, and that was something to where I struggled with at the Preserve. I was step up to putts, and I wasn't confident, and that's not me. But it was just one of those weeks where I couldn't really snap out of it, and then luckily I feel like I have. As a player, you go through ups and downs as far as your confidence, and that's the big thing. Obviously, I have the physical and my mental game, the confidence also. So they go hand in hand, and it's something to where I really feel like I was onto something. And I think that I'm gonna keep the little timing things that I've been doing with my putt, and to keep that in mind, put it in my notes or something, so that way if I forget, I can go back and check it. So that's something I do when I'm tweaking my putt a little bit. I'll be like, all right, put a little bit more weight on the back foot, or like reach back to your back leg and then straight forward, and extend your elbow, as you're extending your wrist. So there's just all those little things that timing wise that go into my head, and then so after a while, after I start practicing enough, they become subconscious. But when I'm drilling it into my head and practicing, I have to think about it while I'm putting. So that's kind of something I was doing at the Preserve, and I think after the Silver Cup, it was subconscious. I was doing all the things that I know make a good putt as far as form-wise.
Well, okay. I was going to say, let's talk a little bit about the Silver Cup real quick. This year was a little bit different in that you guys didn't play Roland Ridge. You stayed at the Super Silver. What do you feel about that? Because we saw that Roland Ridge had some water issues from some rain, and the guys that were out there had to play the same hole like 3 or 4 different... 3 or 4 of the same holes twice, I believe it was. And did you have a preference? Do you love the Roland Ridge? How do you feel?
Yeah, I think Rolling Ridge is the more challenging course, I think, in general. But they did add a lot of new doubled up holes, safari kind of holes at Silver Creek to make it a lot more challenging. So I don't want to take anything away from Silver Creek, but I think Rolling Ridge is almost the main attraction as far as like the championship level course. It's really challenging. I know they were changing up some of the tee pads and stuff. I have the course record out there. That's going to be a tough one to beat. I know that for sure. I played really solid, and I've actually been there getting ready for the tournament with the TD Jim, and he said that we're probably not going to play. It was brutal. I played it and it was miserable. I mean, you throw your disc right in the middle of the fairway and it's a swamp almost over touching my ankles. So it's just complete mud, and I totally see why they didn't. But it does kind of suck because that was a really nice course. But I mean, Silver Creek, I always get them mixed up. I always call the course Silver Cup.
Understandable. Understandable.
Yeah, yeah, no, the Super Silver layout was awesome. A lot of good par fours, and it's just a super fun course to play. It's not like you're out there throwing, shots through a bunch of trees. All the fairways are totally fair, and the pars are true. And you're not going to see. You didn't really see as many scores like you did at the Preserve. So the course overall was a little bit more challenging than the Preserve as far as to par goes. But it was good. It was good for the amount of spectators that they had, and he definitely made the best of what course situation they had for sure.
Well, and to be fair, I feel like every single person in every division can subtract 3 from their score, and that should be their actual score. Just because, is it fair to say hole 2, or what you guys played as your second hole?
For MPO, yeah.
And for FPO. That's not a par 3.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely not a par 3.
Okay.
It's a par 4 for sure.
I was thinking the other way.
Yeah. It was. We were all saying it was like a par 3.5, but if anything, it was more of a par 4. It's just one of those type of holes to where it's not a good par 3, but it's not really a good par 4 either. But it's a good hole. It's weird because it's a good hole, but it's just like it's weird because it's not a good par. It's as far as to par, it's not a good hole, but as far as from a playing standpoint, it's a good hole. It's challenging and everything. And fair shot
and I say that because there were 0 birdies in the MPO division all weekend, and there were 0 birdies in the FPO division all weekend. So that's what leads me to say I'm not sure that par 3, but like you said, par 4 might almost feel a little too generous. I don't know. If anybody can officially call a hole 3.5, Jim will find a way to do it.
I think that would be it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. No, it's funny. During the practice round me and Kale played, or I think it was a practice. It was during the tournament. We were talking like on the way to the basket, and then we both threed it or something. We were like, "Nice half birdies, dude." We said that to each other. That was funny.
Yeah, I could see that.
We both thought the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Then I'm not crazy as I was trying to break down that hole, because it's not really toolable unless somebody throws one in from like circle 3 or something like that.
No, and I was thinking more along the lines of hole 18, which I don't feel is a real par 5. That's more of a par 4, I think, for the MPO division, which is what I said. It's just one of those shots that you're right. It's probably a 4.2 or something, just barely over 4. But no, I get that.
No, for sure.
So what do you feel like the vibe was? I mean, here you've been in the Midwest. Obviously, you went from the Dynamic Disc Open, traveled about 8 hours north into Minnesota. Wisconsin, and Michigan. A lot of people, for starters, confuse them, which Steve Dodge I still don't think knows which is which. But what do you feel like the vibe kind of is when you're, playing in, doing these 3 states or those 3 states in 4 weekends? What do you get out of the Midwestern vibe? And you're from Ohio, but
yeah, of course, I'm similar, kind of close, but but yeah, no, it's actually really funny. I was talking to Kale, I think, about it, and I was just saying, like, it's funny how, like, when you go to these states like Minnesota, Wisconsin, all the northern states, that the disc golf community is so supportive. There's so many people that are like craving disc golf, love it, super supportive, coming out to the tournaments. The scene just seems like amazing as far as how many players and dedicated fans. And then you go to like states like Florida, Arizona, even, and I'm from Arizona, but like it's such a huge populated area, and there's not that many disc golfers comparatively, and so you can play all year round. I get it's hot in the summer, but like, and you go to these northern states where it's snowy, and there's just so many players, especially like Minnesota, and like Florida blows my mind too. Like there's not that many players in Florida, but you can play all year. And then you go to states like Maine, it's the same thing. It's like snows all year. Like basically, in my mind, it snows basically all year round. Like obviously, I know it doesn't. But like,
it's snowing right there. It's snowing right now, Ricky.
There's a quarter inch. We just don't see it.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, in all reality, you probably get 4 or 5 months, not even half the year of good disc golf without slop and, wetness and snow, whatever. So, but yeah, they have just an amazing disc golf population. So it's really impressive that not really a correlation as far as weather and like the amount of players. You would think there would be,
Well, I mean, maybe so there is a correlation in that we can't play nearly as much in the winter. So when we do get out there in the summer, we are gung ho, like we are ready to go. I want to get as many rounds in as I can, so to speak, during the nice weather, because while you can go out and play in the 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot snow, it's not as much fun. We all know that. It's not. It's a totally different game. You're all bundled up in your 3 or 4 or 5 layers, and so so that's why I think some of us here in the Midwest really enjoy when we get great weather, man, it's gung ho.
Yeah, so I think that the biggest bummer, I guess, is just there was a good amount of spectators at the Preserve, and there was a good amount of spectators at the Silver Cup. I mean, there was a lot of people out there, and I know they were turning people down coming into the park. So I was just interested to see actually how many people would have showed up if there wasn't restrictions on the amount of spectators at both events. So I know Kale was saying he probably got over 1,000 live spectators there, which would have been awesome.
Wow.
It's a pro tour. And I believe him. I know Minnesota's a huge scene, and Wisconsin I know is right there with it as far as the amount of players, I think. And so I think that's a little bit of a bummer not to see. Like, I know the sport's been growing as we've all seen, and I think that we would have been able to see some big numbers at both those events if there were the spectators were allowed.
Yeah, and that really actually feeds right into my next question, which is, how weird is it for you? You're a guy that does a lot of clinics, demos, your challenges. You've done all of these things. You've really built your branding, into your branding over these last few years, sales and all these other things when you're going from town to town. And now, a lot of that is either completely nixed or it's really limited. And how has that been for you? Is that kind of weird, like half interacting with fans?
Yeah. I think it is weird. I mean, I try to, I'm always put hand sanitizer on, and I'm trying to stay a little cautious as I can. I mean, it's tough to. I know some players were playing with masks on. I wasn't, but I definitely don't blame them. I mean, that's definitely responsible. But I think it's funny you mentioned that, because I think the one time I remember one nice long putt at the Silver Cup that I hit. And it was during the final round, like hole 14 or 13. I hit like a 60-footer uphill, and I was like pumped, and it was just kind of weird because there was not a wooded hole, and there were spectators, but there wasn't as many. And so like I was so used to hearing a big roar, and there's nothing there. It was just like it was still fun. Like I was glad I made the putt, but like I didn't get the effect that I normally get, where everyone's like cheering and going crazy. But so that part's a little bit weird. And it's definitely, I haven't really planned any challenges or anything. I'm starting to do actually where I do a pay to play. I'll post in the club pages where I'll play with like 4 people, but I'm not really doing the Soccer Bomb challenges where I'm having 50 to 100 people there. I just feel like that's not really responsible on my part, all the way. We'll see what happens with everything. But as of right now, I feel like that's a little more responsible, just doing 4 players in a card, and just having playing around with those 4 players, kind of a play-in clinic type of thing where I play the course for the tournament, and then I kind of show them, dissect the course, how I would play the holes, maybe give them a couple swing tips and mental game tips, putting, whatever. And so just kind of spend some time with each person, and they pay me a fee, and I give them value as far as critiques and form and all that stuff. So I think it's pulls its weight on both sides. And so I think I've done one of those. Actually, Jim just did the first one, and I'm going to start doing that in the future.
Yeah, I was going to say, we saw that this weekend at Silver Cup with Jim, like lining up groups of different pros with players and stuff. And I thought that was a great idea, especially with the limited access that we have.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'll go back to asking. We're, I think, looking ahead to potentially no spectators in Michigan. I know you're going to Indiana this weekend, or you're there, but rumors have had it, or I've heard that we may not see any spectators in Michigan. Don't take that as gospel just yet. But that's what one of the rumors is circulated. How different is that for you to go out and play and maybe throw incredible shots, like the one you just described, and it's just like crickets, and maybe the UDisc volunteer looks up from their phone, is like, oh, nice putt, is that weird for you?
Yeah, it really is weird. I mean, I think Michigan was pretty strict on everything, but I know people were saying that, like the Preserve, they were kind of going to be 50-50, that D-Glow was even going to happen. I mean, I'm sure they're doing everything they can as far as being responsible and trying to put the event on. But I think it's a weird time, and it's definitely something to where it's like that's kind of why I'm playing this weekend, just because it's like I want to make sure that I play as many as I can before, if the second wave hits. it gets closed down. But sorry, what was the second part of your question? I got one on a tangent.
I was just saying, is it kind of different, like in
Yeah.
terms of, do you feed off that energy? Do you, you kind of have classically or famously, nod, as just a habit because you're used to getting these accolades.
Even when there's nobody there, we've seen Ricky give the when he hits that 35-footer, 40-footer, give the wave, and it's like, is he waving to the other guys on his card, or what's he doing?
Hey guys, I made that.
I'm here.
That was me.
Did you hear those chains? That was me.
Right. My putter. Going to grab it out now.
Don't throw. I'm walking towards the basket. That's me right here. No, but do you feed off those energies, whether it's from the crowd or other people?
Yeah. I think I definitely do. I mean, even if it's just something where that's the lead card. Like you look forward to. That's part of the excitement of being on the lead card or being in the top, couple groups where everyone wants to see their certain players are kind of bunched up at the top and battling, and like it just adds to the excitement of the tournament as far as from a spectator standpoint, but also as a player you look forward to thriving off this excitement from the spectators. So it's something, it definitely affects the energy of the tournament. And I think that people maybe like Kyle last week, there was a good enough gallery to where he was definitely nervous, I could tell. But maybe you take his same situation, and he's a young kid, he's got a lot of talent, but we've all been there. You just kind of got to go through playing with all the pressure and all this situation that he was in. And he played well, he handled the pressure well, but it's something where you have to get in that spot to really feel comfortable in the long run. But yeah, so you take Kyle and you put him in, say he makes the lead card next week, it may be a totally different vibe. He may not get as nervous, and it may not affect him as negatively. And so it'll be interesting to see. Maybe the players that don't play as well under pressure may play better just because there's not there's still pressure of the tournament and the money and stuff, but there's not the in-presence pressure from the spectators booing your bad shots and like getting all hyped about your good shots. So the roller coaster is not going to be as high and low, so to say.
That's a really that's an interesting insight. Yeah. So following kind of along those lines, you are just a sports fanatic. You always have been. We've talked a little bit here and there about sports throughout the years, other sports.
Ohio State, baby.
Ohio State, okay. I'm not familiar with that curling club, but I'm sure they have a good one. So now, but in all seriousness, what have you been observing? With baseball and all the other sports that
UFC,
are kind of.
I saw your tweets.
UFC. I mean, everyone's trying to find their version of making it work. What have you kind of seen from a fan's perspective for other sports, and what do you think of other professional sports that are kind of adopting some of these new rules and policies?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's definitely really crazy. I think that I have a couple like my buddy Dylan. He pitches for the White Sox. I think we've talked about him before, but he was saying he's got to spit in a cup and do COVID tests twice, or it was like 2 or 3 times a week or something crazy. And so he's got to be not doing too much. He wants to go out and play disc golf, but he feels like he probably hasn't really been able to. So I was texting him last night. So there's a couple connections I have within pro sports that still play. I know Casey D. Smith. I was Instagramming him earlier as well, and he was just saying congrats on my Silver Cup win. And he was saying I think they were getting back to training camp as far as the NHL goes here soon. So, but yeah, no. As far as basketball goes, I think that's the biggest one that people are excited about. Everyone's in the bubble in Orlando right now, and it's crazy. But I mean, even then, there's people getting COVID, and I think Russ Westbrook just got it or something recently. And so, yeah, I mean, there's some big high-name stars that are getting it also. That changes the whole playoff outlook if he's going to be having to quarantine for the first, little bit of the season or whatever, however that plays out, So, yeah, I mean, it's affecting so many people. I'm actually surprised some disc golfers haven't got it. I was saying in Waco when I was driving back, I'm like, I feel like there's going to be maybe a couple disc golfers here and there that have it that from Waco that we may, come out in the woodworks later on in a couple of weeks that we find out, but that hasn't happened. I'm kind of surprised. What about you guys?
I mean, I don't want to cast shade on anybody, but I'd be curious as to whether or not we would even know. Like,
Yeah,
would they
that's
would
true.
would they
For
be
sure.
responsible? I mean,
Yeah.
we would hope that, you know, if one of our, we'll say, top 30 pros gets
Yeah.
it, that they would withdraw. But they might not know. They don't have to go through the tests like everybody,
Right,
and
that's
they might,
true.
and even if they felt a little ill, they might just brush that off like, I'm sure I'm just sick, it's not corona. And, you know, I've talked to a couple people that have been gone in for corona testing, and one guy today was saying how he's like, yeah, I had to wait in line for an hour and a half at the walk-in clinic because and I got there before it opened, and it's just I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a hassle, and I don't know. I would hope that, again, like I said, I would hope that our players would be responsible, and that maybe we're just really lucky and we haven't seen anyone get it. But I don't know. You're right. You're right. It's tough. It's shocking.
I was talking to Jeff, and I think that he was saying that they have a policy now that if someone wanted to go get tested, I think that the Pro Tour would cover it. I think that's what he said.
That is correct. We talked about that before the Dynamic Disc Open, about everyone being able to go over to Flint Hills at the time and get testing. And I know there's those opportunities, I believe, at every Pro Tour stop. So, of course, the Pro Tour taking it very seriously, trying to do every precaution they can. And we do know J. Ray did have it. And there are a handful of other golfers, and I don't want to necessarily spell them out right now, but J. Ray was pretty public about it. So I feel comfortable saying that. And, of course, he's recovered now. So he's one of them. I know everybody was challenging me because I was feeling under the weather at Memorial. And everyone's like, "Oh, Miller had it." He was just I was in Taiwan and I was in Thailand when the ban actually happened. And I mean, to be fair, I don't sleep enough, and I work a lot of long hours in a lot of different climates, all within sometimes in a few days. It's pretty common for me to have some kind of ailment when I'm at the Memorial. Usually,
let's go get tested together, and we'll live stream it.
You're running down your immune system pretty.
I do. I really do. And that comes the week after Vegas of next day coverage in Vegas.
So my buddy was telling me there's.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, no, I was just saying. There's this. I just heard about the spit test. I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah. I know there's that, and then there's the nose one. I heard that's great. I heard a couple people that did that. Or said it touches your brain. You got to put in a bunch of swabs all the way in there. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a few different tests now.
You realize, like, I got to.
Yeah, your nasal cavities go back really far. Like, you'd be shocked at how far they go. But yeah, there's the spit test. There's the swab. There's a finger prick one for certain, to test for antibodies and things like that. And it just depends on how long you want to wait, how fast you want the results, and all that other stuff. I think that's and what your insurance will pay for, and all that crazy stuff. Most of the time, the insurance is going to pay for the worst one.
Exactly. They're going to pay for the one to stick the swab all up to your brain, and the one you don't want. Yeah,
exactly it.
So moving into this weekend, you were, like I said, you moved from Manitowoc and Two Rivers area down into Indiana. You're the highest rated player down there, which isn't that big of a surprise when you go to a lot of places. But you're the highest rated player. Double G, I think, is a few points behind you. Looks like a solid field. Have you seen the course or courses? And then what are you thinking about them?
Yeah. So the courses are, I think, overall pretty wooded. So I don't think it's going to be too many open bombs. But there's a lot of par threes and par fours in the woods with some pretty sharp angles. I played one of the courses today, and a lot of some putter shots on the par threes, and then the par fours are like a lot of mid-range shots and to placements and to second shots. Kind of reminds me of like Charlotte golf. If anyone's watching played there, it's just kind of like throw to a layup spot and you throw around the corner to the basket. It's kind of par fours to where you can't like attack the green in one. It's like a 500-600 foot par four, but you have to throw like 200-300 feet and then attack on a second shot. So there's tough, challenging par fours that you're not going to really be able to see too many eagles because you're kind of handcuffed off the tee, and you really got to make the scoring on the second shot. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It'll be a good battle. Like I said, I'm using this as a, it's obviously any tournament I go into, I'm trying to win. So I'm just trying to get my mental game at a high level and my game at a high level to where I can go into any tournament and feel like I can win. And last week was a big confidence booster that I'm gonna take into this week and hopefully carry that momentum into this week and beyond into the Pro Tour. hopefully for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and we'd be remiss without asking you, and you just mentioned it, momentum. Do you feel like this weekend maybe just kind of locked you in and solidified that you're back, you're feeling good, and you're ready to go for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I really do. I mean, I'm feeling amazing. My health in general, as far as my physique, and I'm feeling good. I got gained the weight back that I lost from the Lyme, gained a little bit of muscle. Doing a lot of stretching, eating really well, taking all supplements, and so my body's just optimized to the highest level right now. And I think I've always say it, but like as far as, I feel like I'm the best I've ever felt. I've never eaten this good. I've never taken this many supplements, supporting my immune system, supporting every function in my body that I need to, play at a high level. My mental, and so all that stuff is really noticeable from all the program that I've been on. And then on top of that, I'm playing well. So, I mean, I think it's just a great combo, and it's something to where I really feel like I can take this hurdle and really jump even higher and reach a new potential for me once I get leveled out and start playing consistently again. And I'm really excited about it.
Now, he was on the board earlier. I don't know if he's still around or not, but I know Brody Smith at least had chimed in, and of course he has his own battle with Lyme, and we watched him withdraw from the DD Open. Have you guys had any conversations? Have you guys talked about anything one way or another as to things that worked or didn't work or to look out for? Have you had any of those conversations?
Yeah, we definitely. I talked to him at the DDO a little bit. The first time I really introduced myself, we talked for a little bit. He was kind of talking to me about it a little bit, his game plan, how he was attacking it. He changed his diet, I know, a little bit. And he was different because he caught his, I think, couple days after, which was when the doxy is most efficient is if you catch it within, I think 72 hours, don't quote me, but something like that. And so just for that reason, he had to kind of use a totally different game plan than I did. Not have to, but he chose a totally different game plan than I did. For that reason, because he was within the most effective date as far as the doxy working. Whereas me, I was a totally different story. I was well past that to where the percentage of it working was very slim.
Sure.
So anyways, we talked about that a little bit. I just reached out to him and said, hey dude, I've been through it before. It's brutal. I know what you're going through. And I just kind of gave him a little support and just told him I was there. I mean, sometimes that's all you need, even if he doesn't reach out or anything. It's just something at the time to make you feel good that someone else has been through it. Because I've been through it, and when I was going through it, talking to someone that's already been through it really helps a lot in anything you do. Just kind of as a mentor and say, if you wake up and your limbs are so inflamed you can't move them, that's actually normal. Like I went through the same thing, and so my nutritionist would do that with me. So I just wanted to reach out and kind of say that, just to offer that kind of support with him to make him feel better in a time where I know it's extremely depressing.
Yeah, and to think, not to harp on it or anything, but to think that he was taking the doxy, and then that had that adverse effect to the reaction to the sun, and then that was just kind of like the all the wrong things going wrong for him on the same weekend. To be out there and to have that experience at the DD is if you were to feel anything, what do you think would be most common? Like if
I was gonna say, how can we tell if Ricky's having a bad day?
Yeah.
Or physically just like worn out?
Yeah.
Like, how does us as a viewer? Because I feel like now, unfortunately, you have a stigma that's whenever you shoot poorly, whether it was like at the preserve, that everyone's gonna be like, well, it's probably just the Lyme for Ricky, and whether that's the case or not.
You've got a permanent excuse.
That's true. You do have a permanent excuse built in now.
I'll let you guys know right now. So basically, the Memorial and Waco were basically, I was completely inflamed and should not have been playing. But my competitive side wouldn't let me not play.
Yep.
I was in no shape to play. I mean, like I said, I was playing at 40%, if that, and so the preserve, I just didn't play well. So the thing is, it's usually my knees. Usually my knees are the first thing to inflame, and you can literally tell just by the way I'm walking, to where it's like they just lock up and they just it fills up with fluid. I mean, it looks like so many will turn into looking like a softball. And so there's actually an inflammatory stage that you go through with Lyme, and I think I'm actually past that. So I'm really excited about that fact. But yeah, I mean, there's always there's always, I mean, yeah, as far as Lyme goes, it's always going to really be in your body. As far as my situation, but I've just got it under control through my diet, supplements, and all the game plan to where it's not, I'm hoping that it's not going to ever get inflamed again. Like the nutritionist, the same game plan that I'm on, he's been fine for 10 years, never had a flare up, never had nothing, and he's it's probably just going to be like that for the rest of his life. But yeah, so basically you can tell how I'm walking if I'm having a bad day or just playing bad. But yeah, I'm not afraid to say. I'm not one to say like, oh, I played, I inflamed at the preserve. That's why I played bad. Like I just didn't play well and had an off week. And so most of the time, unless I post about it, it's really I'm really as far as not being inflamed. But yeah, it's really the knees, and that affects so much. I mean, obviously the run up, everything, and yeah. So that's that.
So we need
I think the key will be watch Ricky off the tee. If he's not the first one out in front of everybody by 20 feet, we might know, because that's the patented Ricky move. Throw, and somehow, whether he's first or last on the tee, he's 20 feet in front of everybody.
Everybody, all the time.
That's so funny.
And the worst part about that, Rick, is you're usually one of the last to have to approach because you throw so far. And here you are off to the races. You know it's not a horse race. Like, I don't know where you're going. Like, Rick, come back.
Hey, I am in Kentucky, Indiana border. I can go check out Churchill Downs, right?
There you go.
That's right. That's right.
No, but yeah, no, it was funny actually. In Memorial, my nutritionist was with me, and he was like, I was actually always the last one off the tee because I would throw it, and I'd be like so inflamed, like like I almost had to pull out a couple of times. It was that bad, and he would like stretch me out or do whatever and help, give me ibuprofen or something to help, with the pain. And so it was funny. I was always the last one off the tee. So that's actually a really good way to look at it. If I'm struggling to get off the tee, walking wise, hopefully not throwing wise off the tee, then I'm really struggling. Maybe it'll be both though.
If Ricky's off to the races, we know the knee is feeling well, and and there's no Lyme. Good to know. All right, Rick, your teammate, we're gonna have her here shortly, Lisa Fajkus. I told her you were being difficult. That's why I had to shift around her headlining show tonight.
Ricky was a diva. He insisted on coming on after the
She's
champ.
like, I know, Ricky. No, just but it's super great battle, of course, on the FPO side, and we're really excited to talk to her. Did you guys exchange any conversation afterwards, or did you get that chance, or no?
No, I was more than anything, I was bummed out that I couldn't, say congrats to her, just because it was really weird with the award ceremony and everything. It was like, after I tapped out an 18, I made a little speech to all the spectators that were there, which was a decent amount. Yep. And then they were like, oh yeah, this is, Jim gave me the trophy, did the little bit of speech, and then I'm like, was all thrown off. I was a little bit weirded out. Like, is this the award ceremony? They're like, yeah, it is kind of like no, there's gonna be no official award ceremony. We don't want people gathering together. So that kind of made the ending of the tournament a little weird, to where it's like, all right, I guess I'm gonna leave now. I don't want to, So it was kind of awkward in that aspect. But I was definitely chiming in UDisc, rooting for my teammate. Awesome. And Lisa's awesome. I've traveled through or stayed with her at a couple spots, and she's a great player, great putter. We did an event in Portland, Oregon, together, like kind of a Wysocki challenge where we had Lisa involved, and yeah, so she's a great player, great putter, and a great person. It's awesome to have a FPO and MPO team Innova representing.
Innova representing, awesome. Well, maybe tonight's giveaway, we'll have to we'll get something Innova themed that we can give away to our Patreon supporters.
There you go.
All right, Rick. Thanks for catching up with us. I know you got a busy weekend planned ahead, and then, of course, we're going to see you in a few days after that, as you're going to venture over to the Toboggan, and we're going to see everyone taking on the DGLO over there in Michigan. So stay cool. I know the temps are going to be in the mid-90s this weekend, and I said that it looked like there may even be a raincoat Ricky version that might need to show up this weekend.
I think DK Pro will be there to capture that.
Awesome.
Well, I hope so.
Well, best of luck to you as always.
All right.
Thank you for joining us, pal, and good luck to you this weekend, and we'll see you again next weekend.
Thank you guys so much. It's been fun.
All right, take care, Rick.
Smashies later.
See ya. All right. Two-time world champ Ricky Wysocki joining us, and two-time Diva Champ. I don't know now. But I do seriously want to thank Ricky and Lisa and Dana, who are all very accommodating here tonight to kind of get everyone shifted around into the right time slots. Great to have both our FPO and our MPO champions.
We don't get to do that very often.
We don't. And usually one's on the road.
One or the other.
And has slightly different plans, so only one can join us and the other can't. But tonight, the fact that we're going to be able to talk to both of them is pretty exciting. So if Lisa's out there, we'll see if we can get her on board. If she wants to dial in, I'm going to message her. Dial in. And we'll see if we can get here. I know she said she's going to be ready to go in just a few moments. Also, I want to give a quick shout out. I had a chance to venture into Michigan this weekend and met just this incredible club and group of people that are in Bridgman, Michigan. And they hosted a small tournament, which, of course, like everyone, was all influx due to COVID. They really adopted for themselves. It was the first time ever. They didn't do a shotgun start for the tournament. They had a pro and an AM day, and everything went about as smooth as it could have, considering all the adjustments that have to be made. And just a lot of really good, fun people over there, great people to play with, great people to be around. Interesting story that I hope she doesn't mind I share, and I did tweet about it. There was a woman on Sunday. I had just gotten to the park and was setting up discs for sale and such, and moments after I got all set up, a woman, there was a phone call into the TD, Dave, and then a few moments later, a woman comes walking up, and she opens up her hand, and it's just gushing blood. And she had walked from halfway across the course to get back to the tournament central, and then she was just gushing blood. And it was starting to somewhat slow down at that point, but after a long walk. And immediately, because I had just gotten there and I was able to, I said, well, I'll take you somewhere to an emergency type place. So we had to find one. Unfortunately, the closest one was 20 minutes away. So I drove her up there, and we got her checked in, and little bit of a wait and all this other stuff. Of course, when I did walk in, we're wearing our masks and all that stuff. And the woman at the desk says, "Okay, we've got you all ready to go." Blah blah. And then she looks at me and she goes, "And you're the father?"
Oh, ouch! Ouch!
No, I don't know how old Madeline is. She's an adult female. I'm guessing I might be old enough to be, maybe. I don't know how old she is.
If she's technically, I guess, anything less than 24, 25,
I know.
You could.
And I do not know her age.
Daddy.
I did not ask. But, yeah, no. Dare I say, I guess in hindsight, it's a fair question.
Did you have the big beard or was it the trimmed beard?
It was the trimmed. It was. Okay. I was trimmed up, not the rest of my body, but my face.
I wasn't going there, but I'm just talking the beard.
Anyway, so I ended up staying, and she got in. She ended up having 3 stitches. Now here's the best part of the story. I get her back to the course after we waited probably an hour, a little more than that. She gets her 3 stitches. I get her back to the course, and because of the rolling start, we're able, she insists. She says, can I still go play? This was her first ever tournament.
Was this her throwing hand?
No,
okay,
thank goodness. It was her left hand. She's right-handed. And it was her first ever tournament. And so she gets her stitches on her left hand and then gets put onto a card and is able to go back out and play. So she had climbed the fence, I believe on hole 12, that hole is, and on her way down, she had caught her hand on the fence. So that's where she had ended her first round, was there on hole 12 after she was going after her disc. But she's able to go back out second round. So Madeline, I hope your hand is feeling better. I hope you're doing well. And just know, I told her, it felt so weird thinking this is literally her first ever tournament. I just thought, wow, what a story that you sliced your hand open, you got stitches.
The disc golf guy drove you to the
but the fact that she sliced her hand open and then went back out and completed the round. So I hope your hand is healing well. Not that you watch our show, but good luck to you, Madeline. So what a crazy, like, Yeah, just think if that was a story from your first ever
very
trip,
first
like
event,
one you
yeah.
will definitely never forget. So pretty incredible stuff over there. And to follow that up, Dave has told me, and I guess he's reached out before, and we'll have to get some video at some point. Tournament director Dave launches. He does rockets as a hobby.
Cool, like rocketry. Cool.
Yep. And he's launched a basket up into the air before.
That sounds a little dangerous.
It's pretty cool. I saw the one version of it, and we'll have to talk more about it on another
like
day.
An actual disc golf basket or a model.
It's a regulation sized model disc golf basket. Like
Okay.
it looks like
I mean,
pretty incredible. So yeah, great times over there. Thank you to everyone, and thank you for having me at the event. It was a lot of fun.
Chris Cobb brings up, he said it's a topic for the after show, but while we wait for Lisa, I'll quickly discuss it now. How's the wall of minis coming? The wall is still blank, but all of the pictures have been submitted to DD, and the minis are paid for. There was one question. I accidentally sent them, so I ordered, I think, like 43 minis.
Okay.
And I sent them 42 pictures because I accidentally doubled up one of the pictures I put in the thing. So he had asked me, he's like, oh, do you want a different picture? And then I left for Houston, so I didn't get a chance to get back to him. So I don't know if they just went ahead and printed them. If I need to throw another mini in, I need to reach out to our patrons because there are some people that have not sent pictures. So if I can get one from somebody that's there. So those are, as soon as they get here, they're going to go up on this wall. I'm pretty excited. This weekend we get our new couch. So the basement should be starting to get a little bit more finished here soon. And that's how the wall of minis is coming along. And if you want to be part of that wall of minis, we'll start posting some pictures. You can support us at patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV and get in on that $5 level, and we'll get your picture and we'll put it up here on our wall of minis once it's made.
We're gonna have more of an audience looking at us than some of our golfers this year.
Yeah, very true, because we
That's
just
scary.
saw Nate Heinold confirmed on the board that there will be no spectators at DGLO.
Wow.
So it's officially going to be a quiet event, we'll call it.
Wow.
And no spectators for the event. Which just means I can maybe bump up the on-course audio a little bit more next weekend.
That's incredible. All right, Lisa, I have sent a message to. So, and I'm not sure if do we have Lisa's information via Skype?
I do. I chatted over a year ago.
Okay.
So
well, you could try and dial. What if you try and just dial her, and
Sure.
we'll see if maybe that. Because I believe she said she's going to be ready to go.
Okay. We can. I'll give her a call. See if she picks up.
Give her a ring on the teleskype.
Ring a ding ding.
I don't think that's a thing, really.
It's really not.
All right, and
Just says she's not online right now.
all right, which is
As soon as she hops online, we'll.
what I did want to talk about, and I brought it up with. I kind of danced around it with Ricky, just saying when I was looking at his UDisc scoring this weekend, he went from. He was talking about being there before, playing the course, being familiar, getting dialed. He went from 2 bogeys to 1 bogey to 0 bogeys in the final round. And he went from a 53 to a 51 to a 51. And so having a completely clean scorecard in that final round obviously helped push him. And then also what jumps off the page at me when I'm looking at some of the stats via UDisc, I see on the first hole, throw in distance 70 feet.
That's all right.
And I see on the 13th hole, throw in distance 70 feet. So,
I mean, that could be faulty UDisc scores. I don't believe.
Yeah, that's what I would. Yeah, I doubt Ricky's making
no
circle
way.
3 putts.
No, true story. I actually saw one or two of the highlights of Ricky dropping in some bombs, and it was that typical. He throws it. It's like 2/3 the way there,
and
Ricky's 1/3 of the way there.
Yeah.
So it was pretty awesome. Looks like Ricky's putt is starting to come back, and I don't think this is any big surprise. There's nothing more exciting than a circle 2 Ricky putt.
Yeah.
in the sport, just because it's got a good chance to go in, or it's got a great chance to hit dead center pole and come right back out at him. And so ultimately, nothing more exciting.
Yeah, and I see a long putt from him for eagle during the second round. And first round, it looks a little more routine, so to speak, but some of his long ones. So if you haven't had a chance, go out, check out all the post-production coverage, GK Pro, Par Save Productions, and the Disc Golf Network. And then as a quick side plug, Dustin, who had helped last weekend at the Preserve, he actually captured a card for me first round. And then second and third rounds, he got the third card of MPO for the second and the third rounds. And so I've started editing those together. Actually, round one is all done. And it's just going to be a matter now of laying down some commentary, getting the drone footage all chopped up so that I can put that in there as well. So I'll have additional coverage. Obviously, the event is over. And spoiler alert, no one won off the third card. But there's some pretty solid players that are on those cards when I think about Cale LaVisca, Kevin Jones, Matt Bell, Jordan Castro, all just to name a few. Emerson Keith during the first round. So some pretty solid cards and a lot of good action that came. So big shout out to Dustin for going out and capturing more footage now that he's 2 weekends in to capturing disc golf footage.
He's an expert now.
All right, I'm going to maybe they turned off all the internet wherever Lisa disappeared to, because now I'm not seeing her reply via Skype. Reply via Facebook Messenger, which she was on like 2 seconds before Ricky left us.
Yeah, well, maybe.
So we'll have to see if we can get her back. I will segue quickly over to you mentioned Nate Heinold and 15 others vying for the 2 spots on the PDGA board. Please,
I voted.
Please go out and vote.
I did vote for Nate.
Wow. What kind of check does that take?
3 figures.
Okay.
Not including the decimal. So I'm expecting a check, Nate.
In all seriousness, I know we saw an endorsement by Ricky to endorse Nate as one of his votes. Of course, just please, we can't say it enough. We want everyone to go out and vote. We talked to Steve Hill a few weeks ago. Just go out and perform your duty to vote for our board of director spots. All right. And then, as I read off the board, asking if she's pulled a Nico. No, I think she's around. We just have to hunt her down because she was all ready to go. I told her we'd be ready in like 2 minutes, and that was when we still had Ricky clearing up. So hopefully we're going to have her join in. I'm guessing she's having a slight issue, maybe with Skype or something of that nature, in order for her to get here to us. What do you think, as Ricky was just talking about playing and having all this time off, what do you think about anyone that might not be playing this weekend? Do you foresee, like, if it's not a really big, like a pro tour, I know the national tour is canceled, but if it's not a big pro tour event or on the Silver Series, do you feel like some people might still want to pace themselves even though they've had a lot of time off?
Not yet. Well, actually, now that I think about it, this would be the perfect week to pace yourself, because after this week, I think we go DGLO and then back to back with Idlewild.
No, there's a week off in between.
Is there?
Yeah, it goes DGLO and then there's a week off because that's like the second and the third. Dude, it's my birthday weekend. Big birthday bash. No. Okay. And then the week after that is Idlewild. And then the week after that is Ledgestone.
Okay, that's where the back-to-backs are. Okay. I had it confused as to which ones were the back-to-back weekends.
Yeah, so, and that's where I say, like...
Yep, you're right.
Do you at all want to...
I mean, I guess you wouldn't really have to take this week off. Because August is pretty swamped.
Yeah.
I would probably think about taking the week before Idlewild off if I was going to take a week off as a pro and I would play this particular weekend.
Sure.
I mean, It's so hard to say because every pro is going to be different.
Of course. And I know there's a handful of our pros that are in Minnesota, the Twin Town Throwdown, and then I feel like a lot of the other pros that aren't there are down in Indiana where Ricky is. And I'm sorry, I don't recall the Severn Lang is maybe something of that nature. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. I did want to talk a little bit about what we're going to see for the field down there. And as Ricky mentioned, we're going to see a little post-production action thanks to GK Pro. As I do a sort via ratings, Wysocki, Girthy, Barsby, Nate Queen, Colton Montgomery, Elijah Bickle, Logan Bowers, Trevor Harbolt, and so on. So you still got, over a dozen people that are rated over 1,000 that you're going to see on the MPO side. And on FPO, you've got Jessica Weiss, Kona Panis, Christine Jennings, Deanne Carey, and Courtney Cannon. You don't see, I guess I'd have to search otherwise. You don't see Kat. You don't see Paige. I know Sarah Hokum's here in Wisconsin for the next few days. She's going to be doing a meet and greet in...
Why isn't she here tonight?
Some planning that all kind of got screwed around with once you and I got kind of mixed up on our days.
I know. We had talked
but
about it.
Sarah's going to be in Madison doing something on I think Saturday and or Sunday, and she's going to be in Milwaukee area tomorrow night on Thursday night for a women's only tournament or a women's only league. So, all right.
No luck yet. I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try to dial her up again and see if she answers. Nope, says she's not online currently. So
I'm guessing she's having a hard time getting.
Could be. Yeah, I mean, because we don't know exactly where she's at. So if she's on the road or just in general a place with bad internet connection, if she's not even on Messenger.
Yeah, she was, and then she wasn't.
Well, who knows?
All right.
She's always welcome to join whenever she pops on if she wants, and we can it can be an after show thing if she doesn't get if she's not able to get online until then. We'll see
if we can send out the search party. Hopefully it doesn't need to go too far in order to get her dialed in with us here tonight. Anything else in terms of what we saw this last weekend? I'm going to take a quick look. I know Dana typically goes over those. However, with Dana being on the move or getting moved.
There's a couple events. The Idaho Masters Championship.
I did see that. Mm-hmm.
This one was over in Boise, Idaho. This is where some of our other pros, a couple, showed up. Paul Ulibarri takes this one.
Nice.
Yep, shooting a 36 under par. His round ratings were 1084, 1033, and 1016. He won $669 over John Willis II, Josh Flynn, DJ Gilbert, and James Litchfield. Over in the FPO, Carolina Halstead wins that out of a field of two to take home $238. That's a good payout for a two-player division. So congratulations to Carolina. And we can look at. We already went through the Illinois State. Mm-hmm. We don't need to go through that one again. For the love of all that's holy.
While you're doing that, I want to quickly talk about next week. And I know believe it or not, we've actually kind of thought about this a little bit ahead of time. Next weekend, we're hoping to have next Tuesday, we're hoping to have at least one or two representatives join us from the Meyer Lake event that's taking place in Alaska this weekend.
Yes.
That's one of the events that
you see a lot of the DD crew making posts out there right now.
Just an incredible experience. I almost pulled the trigger on going there, and I know they're looking to build that into. I don't want to go ahead and say like the GBO of Alaska or the Great Northwest, but they are really looking to try and build that into a massive event. Yeah. It sounds like the property is 200% behind it. They've, of course, pulled in Eric McCabe to be the course designer for it. Him and Denise are up there. We see Paige. I almost called her Bierkes. Paige and Grady, they're up there this weekend. I know they're going to be giving some demos and clinics. Also, Stephen Story, one of the tournament directors of the year, along with Doug and Noemi Bierkes are up there as well. So pretty awesome to see. And then next week, we're hoping to get kind of a little one-on-one update from some of those guys. And then Bobby's up there, I know, doing a lot of the media work, and I think Anthony might be with them as well. So looking forward to seeing and hearing a lot more about that event, and that's one thing we're going to check in for sure next weekend, and I've already got it on my list. I want to make sure we can find a way to get there next year and be part of that event, because I think it's going to be something truly magnificent. So, all right.
Looks like we've got Lisa here. Lisa, if you could you flip your camera sideways?
Rotate it one, and it'll probably flip for you.
So much nicer for us. Awesome. So without any further ado, we did get Lisa here on the line. It turns out she has multiple Skype accounts. And so she popped in on the one that we hadn't chatted with. So, but we did get her, and congratulations on your win this weekend, Lisa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Sorry about a little bit of the confusion here if it was on our end, but Silver Cup champion, how does that feel?
Yeah, it's amazing. Didn't really plan for it, so it's a bonus. It's amazing. It feels great. Just I want to say thank you to everyone who's been sending me messages, and yeah, it's been really nice. Just enjoying the win.
Now, when you say you didn't plan for it, what do you mean by that? I mean, you're out there battling. You play just as hard as every other FPO out there. What do you mean you didn't plan for it?
I mean that I was just coming out to play my game, and I really didn't have like pressure for like winning the tournament, because I don't know, everyone's so good, and I just kind of was just coming in, yeah, just with no expectations basically, but also just, I don't know, just feeling like Paige is on such a hot streak, it's kind of hard to catch her.
Well, speaking of which, Terry and I were talking right after FPO finished up, and there was like 6 holes to go in FPO, and I had written Paige Pierce off. I looked at the field and I was like, oh, she's down by like 4 or 5 or 6 strokes with like 4 to go. I'm like, cool. I can't wait to see somebody else win. I walked away from my computer. I came in on hole 17, had just been scored. I was like, whoa, what's going on? How did she? And I looked, and she had just had a really great streak. And I was like, this is going to be really, really exciting. And then I think like everybody else, I was glued to UDisc for what felt like 20 minutes on that hole 18, like waiting. I keep refreshing it, which they yell at you not to do, but I was doing it anyway. And I was so excited then when I finally saw the results, because you were like the first score, I think, to be scored on UDisc with, was it a birdie you got there to win?
Right.
Yeah,
birdie. I got the birdie. To win by 2. Yeah,
to win by 2. And I saw you with the birdie, and I was like, cool, nobody can catch her. This is great. Congratulations, Lisa.
Well,
yeah, it was an exciting time.
Walk us through those last few holes. How were you feeling? Where was your confidence? Or, did we hear you weren't even looking at the scores, or did you know what was going on?
Right. Yeah, I was clueless on the scores, so there was no pressure or worry there. Luckily, I wanted to look at the score so bad. Like, I thought like many times, because we had so many backups kind of on the back end there. And I was thinking about like, it's kind of like a present, like opening a gift. But I didn't want to look at the scores, because I thought that might just cause anxiety and worry. And I didn't need any of that while I was trying to play my game.
So if you had to guess, or maybe you were guessing in your head, where did you think you were relative to other players?
I thought I was playing the best, or not. I thought I was playing really good. So I thought I was like at the top somewhere. I didn't know.
Okay.
Like, I knew everyone was playing good, but I just knew Paige was on a streak, but I was not keeping track of anyone else but my own score.
Okay. Yeah. So pretty incredible. Now,
like,
did
there was too many scores to keep track of. There was too many girls, too many numbers.
Yeah. I mean, going into that final hole, there were 5 of you within a stroke of each other.
Yeah. Even from the chase card. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't look before you teed on 18, or at any point? Did you wait till the final putt?
No, I looked. I have a rule that by the time you get to hole 18's tee pad, it's important to know the score.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked on that tee pad, and we actually had quite a long delay, but I looked on the tee pad, and I was happy, I guess, but I was also a little mad. I just took a bogey to give away a stroke, but I was still like relieved to be tied for the lead going into the last hole.
So again, unfortunately, Johnny and I, we were talking about it, but we couldn't see it at the time. Well, walk us through that last hole. How did it play out for you and for your closest competitors?
Well, at the time, me and Paige were tied, and I think three competitors were one stroke back, and that's Haley, Missy, and
Ellen,
yes, Ellen Woodboom. And so I was focused on me and Paige at the moment, because I knew if I can par a birdie, that's what I needed to do to kind of seal it. And I was feeling pretty good about my drives, and I was able to lace one down the fairway pretty well. It kind of hung out on the right side, but it came back left, and it went really far. So I was happy with the shot.
and to describe the hole, this is what we would traditionally. It's two combined holes from what we had played in the past. There's thick woods all off to the right until you get to more or less the crest of the hill, correct? And then then it's pretty much wide open all the way down to down to where that tree line is, and then it goes even further to the basket, right?
Yeah, is that correct?
Is that where
it's such a cool hole. Tunnel shot to begin with, and then it opens up a little bit. It's sort of a placement shot from the tee, and then you're faced with like this big downhill slope that you're kind of working around trees still a little bit to manage it with cleanly. And then once you get down to the bottom basin, where that wide green fairway is, you're pitching up to like a really narrow green again. So from the fairway, it's a really great hole, really great scoreable hole for the FPO division. Shout out to Deanne Carey. She actually got an amazing eagle on this hole.
Wow.
Yeah, wasn't it like a 200-foot throw-in? Is that what I saw earlier?
Right.
That's incredible.
Yes.
That's good, because if it doesn't hit the basket, it's probably in the ravine.
Right. It's so cool because there's a river just behind the basket. It's within the circle, so it's very tricky. Sometimes you can't see the basket when you're approaching because, it just depends on where you are. So it's just a really great finishing hole.
So just kind of talk a little bit about how your rounds progress throughout the weekend, because when I'm looking at UDisc, I see first round you had 2 birdies and a double bogey, and then the next 2 rounds you picked up 5 birdies or 6 birdies. So it seemed like you birdied more, but you also found more trouble. What was it about the course, as the weekend went on for you? Anything in particular?
I actually noticed I had like that streak of bogeys there, kind of in the back half of the round, and I had some fatigue going on just mentally, keeping up at that time. I just noticed I got a little hungry, a little weary on the course and stuff like that. So I was just like, gosh, I need to make sure to correct that. It's just a, long round, and I noticed I made a couple errors off the tee with my disc selection. Looking back, I could have corrected that. And just little things like that, but it adds up. I missed a few little putts here and there that kind of was uncharacteristic, but it added up to bogeys on the scorecard, which I gave a lot of birdies back, which is really annoying, but it's part of the game. So I tried to just take it and move on, learn from it.
Now, have you gotten used to the whole playing in the afternoon thing? I mean, you've been doing it this year, even though it's been kind of a goofy year. Have you gotten used to that? And do you prefer playing in the morning?
As much as possible. I've gotten used to it. It's pretty new still, but I can say that it's something that, it's worked out for me, at least this past weekend. I kind of enjoyed having the morning off and kind of having most of the day to gather myself and get things going, and just feeling ready for the round.
How do you feel like, I'm looking at your stats right now, and for the final round, you were 100% C1X putting. change anything up recently? Do you just feel like this was like you were focused this weekend more than other particular weekends, or what's going on there?
Yeah, I did change stuff up a lot recently. Let's see, just I mean, I'm still having little issues with like missing putts here and there, but yeah, I was putting really well, especially that last round. But a lot of mental change up, but beyond that, a physical change up too. I started doing different workouts, working on my legs and trying to get my legs really strong again, and that's been helping with my putting. And just kind of just trying to let it go, kind of just clear my mind, and that's a big part of it. But yeah, I just been I really feel like a big change in my putt, honestly, from this week to like 2 weeks ago. So it's just a progression of me working on it and tweaking it,
which is interesting because that's almost exactly what Ricky said. He feels like he's dialed in his putt, and he may have used the word progression or very similar phrasing, but he feels like he corrected a few minor things, and his putt was right where he wanted it really to be, and he feels that much more comfortable. Now, also, what strikes me is you say, trying to strengthen your legs and or working out in a different way. When I think about your putting, I think about kind of how you crouch and then how you line up your throw. Yeah, you're like, have you recognized an advantage or a disadvantage with how you were doing things before, or describe the difference for you?
I was crouching too much before, I believe. Okay. So I actually changed it so where I have like a less of a crouch and I have more of a strong like stance where I'm standing tall, and then I'm just like bending more slightly in the knees and coming up with a lot of power, and just like keeping my power more centered, if that makes sense. So I'm not really like getting off of my line as much, and keeping myself under me. I would say just, and feeling more like in control in that way.
No.
But yeah.
Well, and I was going to follow that up and say, I said it earlier, I think on a different podcast, when I think about you and one of your strongest suits, it's that medium to long range putting. Your short range putting is great too, but you really stand out. When I think back to seeing you at Worlds a few years ago and your great finish there at the first Worlds I saw you at in Augusta. Now, do you feel like you can be or should be the top, say, Circle 2 FPO putter? Is that it?
Definitely. Sure.
Okay.
That'd be one of them. I mean, I can be one of them because I don't say I would be the best. Just I wouldn't say that because a lot of names come to mind right now. Haley King, Paige Pierce, Missy Gannon. I mean, these girls are killing it. I mean, I'm just another girl out there, playing. So,
well, and that's where I'm pressing you a little. Is I'm wondering, do you think you could have that title, whether it's the end of the 2020 season, when we look back and say, all right, we're going to award Circle 2 putting, statistically, it's going to go to someone, like you just said, all those women are great candidates. Is there any reason why it couldn't be you?
I had a really bad start to the season, so I feel like I'm a little bit behind, probably overall in the stats, but I feel like I'm coming in so strong right now that it might be possible, but I don't really know where I stand.
Sure.
But I know I had a really good tournament. I just know in Waco I struggled overall, as well as in the preserve. I mean, everyone, I don't really know, again, it's possible, just because there's a lot more events left. So I feel like, there's still time, and why not? I feel like I definitely feel like, as a competitor, you should think that you're the best if you're a high level, competitor, athlete and things like that. But I feel like my putt is, it's in a good place, and I'm going to keep working on it. So.
It's very exciting. I mean, we said we love watching Ricky, throw him in from circle 2, circle 3. It doesn't truly matter what division it is. Any long range putt is always so exciting and gets everyone's, blood pumping that much more. And it's just such a pleasure to watch it. Is this your biggest win? And if so, what does it mean for you?
It is my biggest win. I thought about this, and it means so much. Gosh, it means everything. I haven't thought about what it means to me like deeply yet, but it means like it's just what I'm trying to do. It means so much. It's hard to put into words, honestly.
Yeah, there was 20 women there, and I apologize. I got to make one more click here to figure out what the paycheck was. I'm guessing it was substantial though, and then maybe probably a bonus of some kind from a particular sponsor. It sounds like a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, 1,057 was the paycheck, Terry.
Okay. And then Innova, who has obviously been supporting you now for a couple of years. Did you have any conversations with anyone from the team?
Yeah, I had some conversations with some teammates and JP and
Nice.
some really cool messages, and people were sending me some encouraging notes, and I really appreciate that. It's really cool.
Is this something you feel, I mean, you're going to say yes because it's one of those standard questions. Is this something you feel like you can build on for some of these future events? Do you feel like your game is moving in the right direction right now? Because as you said, you started out the season for the Pro Tour events 16th and 13th, and then you come out to the Silver Series and win. Are you excited now to kind of, so to speak, get the monkey off your back and start performing because I would say before the season, you were one of the names in the FPO field everybody was talking about. It was like, Kat, Paige, Rebecca, and Lisa. Those are like the 4 people everybody was talking about in the off season.
And Sarah.
yeah. Well, of course, yeah, Sarah Hokum.
Sure, why not? But yeah, no, I am beyond excited. And I mean, can't really change how I played in Waco and how I played at the Preserve, but I definitely learned so much from it. And, that's what it's about, learning from those mistakes and hard times. And, so I kind of am just so happy with how I was able to change things up and prevail in the tournament. That was an amazing moment.
So we talked a lot about with Ricky and just in general how players are kind of taking these next couple of weeks. You have there's not a large scale event that is on the Pro Tour. We'll say this weekend. There's obviously no national tours. Are you playing this weekend, and then are you en route to heading over to the D-Glow?
So this is kind of a unique weekend. I have the week off, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just able to kind of chill for a little bit because I know I don't think I have another week off for the rest of the schedule. Pretty much have my schedule set, and D-Glow coming up is right after that is Mid-America Open, and then I believe,
and Idlewild,
Ledgestone.
Yes, you know it.
I'm looking at all your registered events.
Pittsburgh Flying Open, I want to say Flying Disc Open might be right after Ledgestone, I believe. Mm-hmm. And followed by MVP, of course, and on.
Yeah. So are you back in Texas? Did I see that or no?
No, I mean, I'm in Wisconsin right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm still just hanging out here.
Awesome.
And I'm going to Michigan next week. Yeah, no, I'm out and about. I just was posting some old videos and stuff, maybe some content on my social media today. But that was from weeks ago.
Okay. I was like, she's already back in Texas. And then that's what really made me think, though, that you were taking the weekend off. I thought, well, maybe she's going home for a weekend or something and then would come back.
Long drive, Terry.
It's very weird, but I have to ask.
So what are you, well, first of all, where approximately in Wisconsin are you right now?
Two Rivers, right by Manitowoc, which is the location of Silver Cup.
Yep. All right. And what do you plan on doing for the next few days? Honestly, if are you going to hit some courses in Wisconsin? Are you doing
cheese curds?
Eat a bunch of cheese curds.
Lots of cheese curds. Really, really yummy cheese curds here. The fried ones.
Yes.
Definitely. They're like little donuts.
They are so good.
So tomorrow I'm going to go out to Silver Cup. Hopefully I'm going to have breakfast with Jim Van Lannen because he's kind enough to offer that to me, and I'm probably going to take him up on that. And yeah, I'm going to go get a round in. Hopefully if it doesn't rain, it's been storming here all day. But if it doesn't rain and the weather's decent, going to get a round in or mostly some holes in at Rolling Ridge. Tomorrow, because I haven't been out there yet, and I was just gonna go visit and maybe do like a little shout out and say, hey, I'm gonna be here for like a little meet and greet thing, possibly in the afternoon, or I'm playing it by ear right now. But I'm gonna go out there tomorrow. Been hitting up just the lake and the hot tub around here, nice little chill time, and then I'm gonna make my way to Michigan pretty soon. So I'm kind of gonna get there a little bit early and kind of get set a little bit for the next event.
So I guess the question
that was my question.
Which way are you going to Michigan? You got three routes. You go through the UP, you can come down through Chicago, or straight across the lake with a ferry. What's your choice?
I was gonna do the loopy, like the Chicago way, because the ferry just kind of freaked me out.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
all right.
The ferry
and
is
it's the same like distance I saw. It's like 6.5 hours pretty much either way you go.
Yeah, the ferry's just quote unquote nice because you don't have to drive it or drive through Chicago. You just basically you drive your car on there and you take a 2.5 hour, 3 hour trip.
Do you suggest that?
It depends. I mean, it's expensive because you're probably going to pay a couple hundred. You're probably going to pay like a couple $100 for the ticket and the car. But again, a lot of people are like, well, then I don't fight Chicago traffic or things like that. So it all depends. And you guys are
cool with driving
drivers.
And like the way, like the rocking in the boat kind of, it would be too much for me.
Okay.
I don't know. I probably like that.
And then the northern route is like the scenic route. You want to check out some really gorgeous, beautiful
Mackinac Island,
the islands and stuff like that. You go up through the UP and down and around, but you're also probably adding 4 or 5 hours to that trip.
Here would be my suggestion. If you're not going to go, since we grew up here, if you're not going to go, take the ferry, and you're not in this part of the country often, which I know you're not here too often. Hopefully you'll be here for more Silver Cups and such, but I personally would suggest that you go up and around the UP. I know the Disc Golf Pro Tour said that they were going to go up and around that way. I know there's some other people that have said it. Do it. You have to do it once, and then maybe in future years, if you're here, go down through Chicago and go that route. But if you've got the time, which you do, I would go because you have the weekend off. I would go up and over through the UP. I feel like you got to do that at least once, and then in future years, if you're in a hurry, then you're like, no, I got to zip around the other way. But I'd go up and over if I were you.
There's a few nice courses along the way too. I think. Sure. If you really wanted to hit one or two of them,
and just beautiful scenery when you go up and over that way. So that would be our suggestion here as your resident Wisconsinites, cheeseheads, I think we're called.
Appreciate that.
So talk to us about the atmosphere. You're at the Lighthouse Inn. You see, we have obviously all these RVs that are usually at tournaments, but the Lighthouse Inn, that's that's also a special place to be. Explain it to everyone.
Oh my gosh, it's really special. The tournament director, Jim Van Lannen, this is his inn, and he works here, and he allows the disc golfers to park their RVs and trailers and whatnot here in the parking lot, use the facilities, the pool, the hot tub, the shower. It's very kind of him to, and it's a very majestic location right off the Great Lake, Michigan. It's just a good feeling place. I haven't left yet. It's hard to leave.
So just a little perspective that won't matter to you too much, but so where Johnny and I grew up and went to high school and all that other stuff, if you took Highway 10, which you're not far from, straight west about 1 hour, that's Appleton. That's where Johnny and I were grew up and headquartered out of. So coming over to Manitowoc and Sheboygan area to play disc golf was very much on our radar when we were even younger. So that's why we're kind of familiar. And plus, another thing, if you did, I don't think you're a big Green Bay Packer fan, but if you did go north, you might find yourself at Lambeau. I saw Ricky and a bunch of other golfers taking pictures up by Lambeau Field, and that's a pretty unique and special place to visit, even if you're not a huge Packer fan. So that's another option. So this weekend, taking the weekend off, which I very much applaud, and I think is a great idea because, like you said, your grind is going to be so constant for the next month or so. What is it when you were finding other events that weren't on the Pro Tour? So kind of we'll call them fill-in events, or was it just the proximity? Was somebody enticing you? Was it word of mouth? What gets you to go to Pittsburgh, for instance, and some of those events? Like, what kind of brings you to those events? Because that's where people are saying, well, we know she's going to be at the Pro Tour events, but we're trying to reel them into our events. What is it for you that reels you in?
The parks.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that park. What is it called? Moraine?
Yeah, Moraine State Park. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Moraine State Park is so awesome. I love playing there. It's like I haven't been there, and another thing is I like to like kind of spread it out. I haven't been there in like 3 years.
Okay.
I haven't been here in 4 years, so I was like so excited to be back. I'm super excited to go back to Pittsburgh because I love Moraine Park. It's just really good memories there. I'm so excited to like go somewhere like that. I'm like just really excited to be. So I tried to pick places that I really look forward to. Harmony Bends, I've never been there. I've heard really great things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going there for another tournament this year. Like I picked that one because I've never been there and I really would like to visit.
Putting the number one rated course on your radar sounds like a good idea. Now we've seen a lot of people. There's always extracurriculars that people are finding out on the tour to keep themselves either grounded or peaceful, or hobbies. I think about fishing. We saw a lot of people been out fishing lately. We also see a lot of mountain biking and riding bikes around. What are some of the things that you do to keep yourself entertained that aren't just on a disc golf course?
Something really new to me this year, honestly, Terry, is I got my cat here, and kind of have to like get her out of the van and take her on walks and whatnot. And that's kind of nice. Besides that, just kind of like getting out in nature, trying to go swimming, trying to like, I've been doing a little bit of that, just doing a little bit more like sightseeing, a little bit more like, I don't know. But yeah, just enjoying kind of what there is to offer around. I had a bike last year on tour, but I didn't use it very much, so I didn't bring it back this year.
Okay.
Well, if sightseeing's on your agenda, then definitely go up and around, because I just looked at it, and it's about 8.5 hours to Ann Arbor, Milford area. If you go up and around, and it's just over 6 if you go through Chicago. But with Chicago traffic, it could be an extra hour and a half if you get stuck there. Highly recommend going up and around then.
Yes.
Thanks, John. Yeah, I totally appreciate that tip. I think I'm going to probably do that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the way to go. I'm looking at it right now, and it kind of gets me excited just about the idea of going up and over. It's just so beautiful. Sweet. And you really just touched on, what we're saying is, if you want to embrace it and maybe get out of the van, walk your cat, do whatever you got to do, or go find some sights and some just beautiful scenery and topography, you're going to want to go up and around for sure. Absolutely.
Cool. Nice.
D-Glow, of course, we talked earlier, we're not likely going to see spectators out there. And I know I say it a lot, but we fight all these years to get spectators to come watch all our best players, especially on the FPO side. And just, of course, due to COVID, that's not practical or going to happen, at least at D-Glow. Does that affect your game? Do you think about that at all? Are you concerned at all about anyone that is or isn't out there watching?
I mean, overall, it's a little bit of a bummer, but I don't know if it affects my game at all. It just would be, it's just a little awkward and like, it would just be cool if like the fans could be there, but we got to do what we got to do.
Do you feel that it's maybe almost too casual if there's not spectators out there?
No.
No. Okay.
I think there's so much pressure. There's just so much like tournament vibes. It's not super casual feeling.
Okay. I wondered if, and Ricky talked about like a Kyle Klein who, maybe hasn't worked out all of his lead card nerves just yet. He's a young up and comer, super good player. If someone like him, he's a great putter and he throws a mile, so he does a lot of those things so well. But someone like that might work to his advantage. If there's no crowd, he, or lesser of a crowd, he might not get as nervous.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Maybe. I just feel like, I don't know him personally, but I just know that experience kind of trumps that. And he's so young. I would say just take it for what it is. And like, you can't really gain experience without like living it. So it's, even though the spectators aren't there, that doesn't mean like the nerves go away.
Okay. No, it's
because the cameras are still there.
Yeah.
True.
Yep.
And there's still like, caddies and things like that sometimes.
So you were not part of the commentary this weekend. I think was it Ellen and Holly?
Yes.
Okay. How cool is it though that a win of this size and what this has meant to you, it's forever captured on video for the rest of your life. How does that feel?
Perfect. Okay. I love it. Can share it with my family even.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Plus 2 teammates doing commentary. Have you gone back and watched some or any of the coverage?
All of it. I watched it. I even watched some of the boys. It's very entertaining. I like watching it.
What
are you looking for when you watch it? Are you just watching it for enjoyment, or are you literally watching and being like, oh God, how did I not see that line, or are you just kicking, or are you just kicking yourself like, I can't believe I didn't hit that line, even if you were going for the right one?
I study.
Good.
Wow.
I watch it. I rewind it. I study it. And it's just, I like to. Sometimes I just watch it casually, but I was studying it this weekend.
Is there any times? And I think about how we're such a tight-knit community, really all of us, but was there at any time you were thinking to yourself, no, Holly, that's not what I was thinking, or that's not what I was doing, or no, Ellen, I couldn't take that line. Are you like thinking that while they're doing commentary?
Yeah, that happened a few times, but
of course.
Of course, but for the most part, they were getting it right. But
okay.
Hole one, Holly, was it round 2? I don't know, round 2 or 3. She said I was throwing a mid-range, but it was a driver.
Okay.
I don't know. I thought that at least, but
who needs those pesky facts?
Whatever. Who cares?
Who cares? You got the W. All right. There's only one letter that matters this weekend, and it's a W. And
okay.
And the 4 digits that are on your check as well. So pretty sweet. All right. So a great question did come in from the board as we're going to start to let you go. But tell us about maybe your go-to shots this weekend or go-to drivers. We know you've got some support discs. Tell us about your go-to throwing shots this weekend that helped you win.
My number one driver was my my orange colored glow 166 gram Roadrunner. So it was like my number one fairway. I was throwing it off the box quite a lot because there's a lot of fairway shots where you want to go straight and long and not waver too much left or right. So the Color Glow Roadrunner was my number one driver, followed by my Star Strike, Star and Champion Strike. I was throwing both of those a lot. But those are like my big drivers off the box. But I was definitely leaning on those discs.
This is a totally self-serving question. Do you throw the G-Star Strike at all? And if so, like, what do you like about it or not versus your champ and your star?
You know what's funny? I've never had a G-Star Strike. I've had a G-Star Wraith, a lot of other G-Star discs, but I've never. Oh wait, no. I have a G-Star. I take that back, Terry. I have a G-Star Strike. I like it. It's a lightweight one. Aaron Oakley gave it to me a couple years ago, and I still have it. It's like a 165 or 163 grams, so it's actually really fun, and it's surprisingly poppy and has like a good hyzer to it. So I actually really like it just for kind of a consistent finish. But I enjoy the G-Star plastic in general.
Okay. Yeah, Terry is just started throwing the Shrike, and now he's looking for suggestions on different ones, and that's great. That's what we have. We have unfettered access to some of the best throwers in the world.
Yeah,
no reason not to help improve your game.
When your
Terry.
name's on a Shrike, I should be asking you Shrike questions.
That's right.
That's how that works.
I really love my Champion Shrike lately.
Okay.
My Champion Shrike is like a new thing that I've been getting into like this year. Glow strikes are awesome too. I would have loved to get my hands on some color glow strikes. I don't really have too many of those, but just Champion in general is just like so fun to throw, and dependable in the strike mold. I love it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll admit it's funny. I'm in the opposite spectrum as you. I'm throwing a couple of G-Star strikes that I'm playing with that I really, really like, and then I picked up 2 brand new Pro Shrikes, and I really enjoy throwing those as well. I haven't thrown a regular star or a champion yet, so I'm gonna if I'm digging in your bag, that's what I'm going after.
Cool. I like it.
Awesome. All right. Well, I told Ricky this earlier, and I'll tell you the same. We got a great Innova theme, even if they don't support our podcast financially. But when I dig into the giveaway tonight, it will be an Innova disc. Maybe it'll be I think I have a black Star Shrike from an event last year, brand new, that looks gorgeous. If I remember, maybe that's what we'll give away for the Patreon subscribers tonight. So, all right, Lisa, anything you want to say before we let you go, and you can continue to bask in the glow of this amazing win this weekend?
Just again, thanks for everyone who sent me any kind of nice messages. I've been getting like hundreds of them, so I just really appreciate everyone. And just thank you to my sponsors. I got 6 sponsors. I got Innova, Pound, Groundbound, Flightel, Throw Pink, and Tree Love. So thank you to my awesome sponsors. They're really cool. And I broke my what's it called? What is it, like a stand for my? I don't have like a
tripod or something.
I'm like holding it with my hand right now.
I bet your arm's got to be getting sore.
No, it's not, because I'm like, it's on a tabletop,
Okay.
like blocks. But anyways, I just feel like I need like a better like like a stand.
Little tripod. We'll get
tripod. That's what I need.
I'll shoot over a suggestion to you of a basic
one. Maybe like a good
one.
one, because I broke my last one. Totally sucked.
Okay, I'll shoot. And you're just talking for your phone?
Yeah, my iPhone.
Okay. I'll send over one that I
You're the tech
frequently
guy.
use. Yeah,
That's right.
I can handle that. All right, well, Lisa. Well, again, we can't say it enough. We've always loved watching you play. You're so deadly out on the course. It's awesome to see such a great performance from you this weekend. A huge win, and all of the Smashies, thank you for joining us tonight and giving us a little recap and insight into the weekend. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thanks again, Terry and Johnny. Appreciate
Of
y'all
course.
guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
All right,
Lisa.
Lisa. Well, travel safely. If you need any other Wisconsin map tips, or
just let us know. Give us
just
a call.
let us know.
Yeah,
We'll be glad to help you out.
Thanks.
All right, travel safely. We'll see you at the Discraft Great Lakes
Depot.
Open next weekend.
Yep.
All right, see ya. Have a good night.
All right, bye.
See ya. All right, Lisa Fajkus and her. Maybe she got to take her cat out for a walk. That's funny.
Yeah.
She didn't even finish saying that that she sometimes takes it for a walk. I was going to ask, do you take your cat for a walk? And
Well,
sure enough,
I mean, yeah.
cats don't like walking.
No, they're not.
They generally don't.
Which is funny, because a cat to me sounds like an outdoor creature, but it's not usually something. But then again, I also have seen when I met my wife, she had a rabbit, and it was a house-trained
Rabbits love walking.
A house-trained rabbit. I never took it out for a walk, but there was a group of people that I would see that had a rabbit that would go out for walks down on the east side. And I remember watching like, that would be kind of cool to strap one of those on. Rabbit's name was Lily. To strap one on Lily and walk her down the street. And my wife was like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen because the Lily would not put up with that, the contraption on her head, unlike this rabbit who has probably been doing it for a long time. So it doesn't matter the animal, Terry.
We're talking rabbits here, folks.
Not just rabbits. We're talking cats, too.
We're talking anything on a leash.
We're talking leashes here on SmashBoxx.
And if you do need a leash, let me know. I've got some great Night Eyes leashes that I could send your way. They light up and stuff.
It is so
They're
true.
Great.
That's the funny
I do
part.
got extra leashes, so
oh my gosh.
come at me. If you need to be leashed up, we'll make it happen. All right, guys. Well, I think on that note, we can close out the regular show. Who knows what the evening show. I will say it. I'll share it with everyone right now. I use a Manfrotto. It's called a Manfrotto Pixie Mini Tripod, and it comes with a smartphone clamp. So if you're just looking for it literally is about 6 inches or so in height. I guess I could probably just read the details. It's about maybe 6 inches in height, and then it comes with a little clip so that it holds most of your
larger phones
in it. It's great if you just need to set it somewhere. You don't have you have a lot of adjustable angles to put it on, but the tripod itself has to kind of be placed on a even surface. But then you can adjust the angle to whatever you need. So runs you $30. I don't get no kickbacks from that either.
Manfrotto, start sponsoring us.
Yeah, Manfrotto is an industry leader in stabilizing equipment and tripods and monopods and whatnot, but you could get this at a Best Buy, for instance. But the Manfrotto Pixie Mini Tripod Kit is what I would recommend.
Talking
it says
tripods.
$30.
Tripods.
I got 3 legs out there. We're talking tripods, so that's what I would recommend if you're just looking to use it on a phone. All right, guys, we are going to call it. We'll watch you guys get rowdy in that chat board because we're excited to come at you for the after show. We got to, of course, thank Dana, your champion at the Illinois State this weekend. We got to thank Ricky Wysocki, your Silver Cup Silver Series champion, MPO, and then, of course, Lisa Fajkus, your FPO Silver Cup Silver Series champion. For Johnny V, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, we'll see you guys in the after show of Podcast 306. We'll see you then when you step inside the SmashBoxx.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxxTV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 306 After Show. Here we are. It's the after show.
Let's get rowdy.
Yeah, time to get, or as I'd like to say, unleashed.
Get unleashed.
Unleashed. Unhinged?
He'll
Unhooked? Off the chain?
No. I saw Off the Chain on a commercial this weekend. I watched a lot of Law and Order. The only Law and Order I really like is the original Law and Order. Jerry Orbach, the
With
20
or
run-
without Ice-T? I'm guessing that's without.
That's without, because Ice-T is like special victims unit.
Of course.
So here's, I maybe I'm wrong, but it went Law and Order, which I really liked as a kid for whatever reason. Then they went to, I think, Criminal Intent, and then they, I think, had Special Victims Unit.
It's a natural progression.
Sure.
Law and Order from the morgue. I mean, it's all just a
There might
progression.
even have been one more in between there. I'm forgetting, but Criminal Intent was decent. I never really got into it. Special Victims Unit is just too depressing for me. Like, it's always, it's like
gory.
It's no, it just seems like it's always some sort of crazy, it's Special Victims. It seems like it's always revolved around some sort of sexual attack of some sort, deviant. Whereas of Law and Order, it's like, it's almost always based around just a regular murder. Like, oh, look, we found this guy in
You like
an
the more
alley.
wholesome murders.
I like the more wholesome murders.
Wow.
Like just give me a good old fashioned cop murder court thing, and I'm down with that. But after that, so anyway, this weekend I was confined to a hotel for quite a long time. I watched the preliminary UFC fights, and then I didn't actually pay for the regular UFC, which I don't think I've ever paid for a UFC, and I wasn't going out to a bar to watch it anywhere. So I turned on some channel, and they had Law and Order on, like a marathon.
I think that's called USA Network.
No, it's TNT.
Or
This was
TNT.
actually WE.
Oh, okay.
I don't, whatever. But they have all the original Law and Orders, not the other ones. And so I just sat there, and for whatever reason, I love watching it. It's one of my guilt. Now I won't even say guilty pleasure. I'm not guilty.
You're
at
guilty.
all.
You're definitely
It's not-
guilty.
Dun dun dun. I can sit and watch Jerry Orbach do his stupid detective thing the entire. I bet you I watched probably 15 hours of Law and Order, like 15 episodes, because each one's about an hour. Just because every night around 7:00 I'd turn it on, watch it from like 7 to 11, and then I'd get ready for bed and go to bed. Go to work, come back the next day, get some dinner, watch.
Wow.
There was nothing better on. We don't have cable here at the house, and I didn't bother. I thought about streaming some things, but the internet at the hotel was really garbage, and it kept buffering, so I gave up on that. And I was thinking, oh, well, I won't even use the hotel internet. I'll just use my LTE. Horrible LTE signal in wherever I was in that Houston area.
Trying to hold you down,
They
man.
were trying to hold me down, so instead I got some wholesome Law and Order in.
Okay.
That's what one of my favorite things about Law and Order is seeing all of the guest stars, the people who are nobodies, who are like murderers in this thing, and you're like, that guy eventually became the sheriff on Stranger Things, or oh, that woman, she turned out to be, that she's like, oh, that's so and so from this TV show. I love just picking people out. And you're like, they were just
that went on. That was their stepping stone.
That was their stepping stone, because Law and Order had so many guest stars. I mean, it was a 20-year run at 20 some episodes a year, and everyone has like a guest host. Or if you're really lucky, you catch the same actor in two different doing two different things. Like in season 3 and then season 17, they come back and they're a totally different character, or totally different murderer probably. And so, and that's what it was with the sheriff from Stranger Things. He was running a dog fighting ring in one of them.
Is that like trying to hunt down all the different women that played Charlie Sheen's girlfriend and girlfriends in 2.5 Men?
Probably.
Like they had to finally start just recycling actors or actresses.
Probably, yeah.
Because there were so many of them throughout the show.
And I know he'll never watch this, but shout out to my son, who turned 11 today. It's his birthday.
Yeah.
So he was
good old Mason.
Yep, Mason. He got himself a set of books from the woman who wrote Hunger Games.
Illuminati.
It's a different series, but so he's going to read those 5 books, I'm sure, in the next week, because that's what he does. And I got like a $25 gift card to Target and like a $50 Amazon card.
Dang, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, that's more than I.
What time does he go to sleep? I'm gonna.
He's asleep. He should be asleep right now. He's not your kid, so
mine are up raging.
I know they are. So we can go upstairs and we can rob him. And take
absolutely.
his gift cards.
I need a new tripod actually. So
there you go. See,
for Amazon.
You can send it to Lisa.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so off the chain, one of the commercials was some awful TV show, and it was just, the commercial was, this is off the chain. And it was, some really crappy reality show. And then it was constant. Like you see it every
off the or off duh.
Off the.
Yeah.
It was like every third or fourth commercial break, it was the same commercial, which made me think about it on this channel. So you sit there and you're like, oh geez, like this commercial again. And I can't argue too much because I think they only had about 12 commercials that just played over and over and over.
Well, also in Disc Golf Media today, and I feel bad that I talked to him earlier on the Upshot podcast, Jamie Thomas celebrates a birthday today. So if you listen to the Upshot, or obviously if you're when you tune in to our live Disc Golf Pro Tour coverage, Jamie Thomas celebrates his 33rd birthday today. So happy birthday to him. And he shares a birthday with the famous, and maybe still to date, the only person that we know of that has a SmashBoxxTV tattoo.
Batman. Dutch Napier. So happy birthday to Dutch, to Batman there. And if we're wrong, please let us know, because I will send you some other free stuff. If you have gone as far as getting a SmashBoxxTV tattoo on any part of your body that's legitimately our logo, not your own version of a Smashbox tattoo. If you have, we definitely need to get you some free stuff. But as far as we know, and this includes Johnny and I, who are tattoo-less, Batman, we believe, is the only person to have a SmashBoxxTV tattoo on his person. It's on his leg, I believe.
Yes, it is. So
awesome.
Hope you're doing well, Dutch, and hope to see you as we make that swing into Idlewild and more into that area in the next few weeks. So, all right, we're going to read from the board as we always do. You guys give us all this inspiration and great idea for content and discussion points. So if there's something that you want to address or bring up or question, putting it in the YouTube chat board is the best place for us to see it.
I feel like we did a really good thing tonight by sending Lisa up through the UP.
Yeah.
I think she's really going to enjoy that, and I hope we get to catch up with her in like a week or two to ask her how the trip was. We could have sat and talked about maybe having her stop in Mackinac Island or something along those lines, but I think, that's just some really gorgeous land up there. So I bet. We hope that she absolutely takes it serious and does go that way. And like I said, the timing for it is perfect simply because she's not in a hurry. Correct.
So if we were just purely, and again, I guess it's only 2 hours anyway, if things go well through Chicago, in future years, she may not be able to stop. She may not have the extra day or two. Yeah, the fact that she has it this year, let's hope that she certainly takes advantage of it. All right, I'm going to read through a few of the comments. Johnny's also going to get our Patreon stuff ready for whenever
it's already ready.
That's good to go.
I prepped that.
Thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers, of course.
Patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. Remember, now, if you're not taking advantage of this, not just the Patreon and giving us money, because we'll take that, but if you are a Patreon supporter, make sure to get that custom RSS feed. And pop that in your podcast reader. Yeah. Because you're going to get the entire, if you don't get a chance to watch it on YouTube, you're going to get the entire podcast, all, 3 to 4 hours of it right after this show. As soon as I can render it and upload it, you get it. Everybody else, it gets broken up for a little bit on Wednesday, a little bit on Friday. But, so make sure, and that goes for anybody that you're a Patreon supporter of that does podcasts. They give these, everybody has a unique RSS feed, and take advantage of that.
Yeah, it gives you access to the podcast, in our case, almost immediately here tonight. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait until usually Wednesday or Thursday or Friday to get the after show, you want it immediately. Yeah, when you're a Patreon subscriber, you have access to it right away. And I know that's what most of you guys are saying. We see Disc Baron out there. Disc Baron, thanks for all the love and support. Hope you're doing well over there in Michigan. It was great being there this last weekend. Disc Golf Comedy. Now, Disc Golf Comedy and I, I'll spoil it slightly.
Oh, jeez. Do I need to take off my headphones?
Somewhat teaming up in some capacity. He's helping, and that's the important part.
Is he going to drive a drone into your face? Because he's been playing with his drone, so if he can just attack you.
Nope, no euphemism. So he is working with me to to put some added graphics onto a few of the shots that I have in some of my coverage.
Yeah, that's right.
And one of the conversation pieces is if there should be a title to this line or set of lines that might be colored, that might go behind a frisbee as it's thrown down a fairway. And it sounds like we're going to have to come up with something for how we want to name it.
Yeah.
Any good ideas?
The waistline? I don't know.
No, these are going to be good shots, so they're not going to be wasted.
They're not going to be wasted. Oh, okay.
And we don't want it always expanding. So
we want to expand the good shots, though, right?
Yes, something like that. We don't want them replaying.
No, definitely not.
So we're working on something like that. I swear I had a great idea that maybe I sent to him. I'll have to remember what that was.
Don't spoil it here. Let's wait till
until it debuts.
Coverage. Yeah.
Okay. It may be coming out sometime soon.
Disc Golf Comedy says he's the new JVD. First of all, no, you're not. Second of all, if you were, I'm sorry. Cody Gardner asks, does the PDGA have a position for someone to obtain sponsors for big events to equal more payout? Not directly. Yep. We have Mary Sicard. Mm-hmm. Who is I don't know what her official title is. She's marketing director
probably.
She might be marketing director, and I don't necessarily know if that. I think if someone were to be doing that job, that would be her position.
She is the marketing manager.
So she's not quite director yet. No, I don't think we have a marketing director. So.
That's within her purview, to use a fancy term.
Yeah, there you go. That would be within her purview. I don't believe that she is, and I don't know, because maybe she is. I don't know if she's actively out there doing that, or if that is just kind of one of her side hustles within her job, so to speak. I know she has a lot of other things with the media management under her. I think Steve Hill directly reports to her. Our PDGA media guru, and I think, but I do believe that is part of what they eventually want to get to, is someone like that to do that. But I don't know how active that is, especially currently. But in general, I don't know. It'd be good to have her on and talk to her about
I'll read something. This is from. I'll steal this from Ultra World, who at early part of her announcement of being hired back in April 10th of 2018. It was listed, new marketing manager, Mary. According to the piece, Sicard is adept at business to business and business to consumer marketing, having spent decades in the corporate world founding small businesses and working in digital marketing, most recently with Ingersoll Rand's Club Car. So she goes on to talk about some of the things that she'll be doing. It's a matter of getting out there and finding out what the core is and what the core wants in terms of our players and of our members, and then also talking about making our memberships as the membership experience a top priority. So those are some of the things that were listed. So anyway, the long-winded answer would be yes, that is something that's within her role or her scope. And like you just said, Johnny, is it her top priority every single day? I don't think so, but she certainly would be one of those frontline people to have a conversation with a Coca-Cola or with a whomever that might be getting interested in supporting disc golf at that, we'll say national or international level. All right. Also reading down further, yes, somebody's talking about various comets. I'll put in yet another plug. If you need to trade away your Jawbreaker Comet from last year's Ledgestone, I'm all ears.
Ooh.
I thought I lost mine this weekend. I played a practice round on Friday.
And you just really like the way it gets up and goes straight to turn.
Yeah, they're relatively understable. And I got to a hole that was just kind of goofy. And I hit a tree very early, multiple times with multiple discs because that wasn't the right line. And I legit started to panic at about the 20-minute mark of looking for this disc. I found the other 3 or 4. Here's the kicker. The hole is like 170 feet downhill. The problem was, after throwing a few, it had kicked to the right into a massive brush pile, and I hadn't dug through that, and then I ultimately found it. But I genuinely was getting nervous. It was almost dark. It was Friday night, the day before the tournament. I thought, like, I've grown to really like this disc. I want this disc. And then thankfully I found it. So that made me realize I need to trade some of you for your Jawbreaker Ledgestone Comet from last year. Most of you aren't throwing it. Like, most of you.
I don't know
just trade it to me.
No, I don't know if anyone's throwing it. So it sounds like it's even more flippy than an X.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. At least
I have a Z and an X in my bag. Because I feel like my X is pretty beat at this point, so it gets up and turns pretty easy, probably a lot like your Jawbreaker.
Mm-hmm.
And then my Z one is a little bit more stable. I can put a little bit more snap on it, and it actually flies pretty straight with a lot of power. I get it to just flip and glide to the right a little bit, but as Disc Golf Nerd says, I don't know how I feel about this whole Terry actually throwing discs thing. And I'm with you, Disc Golf Nerd, because we don't talk plastic a lot here.
No, we really don't.
We let the players discuss what they're throwing and what their sponsors and what their name is on. But for many years, you and I haven't really. I mean, it hasn't been our leading thing. But in the past, I would say month, you've been. I won't say on a kick, but maybe on a kick.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You've been on a disc golf kick where you've been playing a lot more. You've been playing like a weekly league.
Yeah.
You have gone out. And we had a free weekend this weekend where you went out and found a tournament to play.
Yeah, it's been a little bit different in that I actually care about throwing discs every once in a while now. And there's been a long time where I hadn't, and I really had put that. I don't even want to. It wasn't on a back burner. It was on no burner.
You heard it here first. Terry's going on tour.
And yeah, Pro Masters divisions were, those are where it's going to be at now. But it has been interesting to go out and to play and to genuinely enjoy the game a little bit. And part of that has come from, there's a league here in Milwaukee where ultimately 4 courses are going to get played twice over an 8-week period. And you can play it literally any time from Sunday through the following Saturday. Well, the reality is, that's great for everyone else that wants to watch the weather and really wants to take advantage of the best possible day if you have that kind of time. I generally don't. I generally will be gone most weekends and thinking about, usually leaving on like a Thursday and not getting back until a late Sunday night or a Monday. That really still and Tuesday nights usually podcast. So I'm still pretty much limited to like, Tuesday or Wednesday maybe to get in my one round in a week. And I've done that for the last 3 weeks. Tomorrow night is going to be when I'm actually going to play this week's version. And just getting out with a couple people it has been actually a lot of fun lately. So, but the funny part is, you were talking about plastic. I'm talking about a Comet, which obviously is not a new mold. No, it's a new plastic, but it's an old mold.
It's not even a production run, though, as they're saying.
And then on top of it, outside of the Shrike, I don't have any disc in my bag that's really newer than like 2011, 12. Yeah. Like if even that, like all of my discs are older molds. Mm-hmm. Like everything.
Christopher Walton says he does have one, Terry.
Oh, Christopher, we're pals.
And
I got some tradesies.
Yeah. Have you gone to the source? Have you gone to Nate Heinold?
Yes.
And then
now,
if anyone would have more left, it might be Nate.
Yeah, because Nate literally handed it to me last year. Yeah. He's like, here. It's like, oh, thanks. And then I went and played a tournament, threw it for the first time in that tournament, or just before it when I warmed up, and I ended up getting a blind Anheuser Ace with it. I was like, oh, I like this thing. They're not. There's not an abundance of them. They did have a special run of them last year. I don't know when or if we're going to see another special run of them at some point. And a few people have very graciously said they'd be willing to trade me for some. I would say buy, but I have so many discs. I think I could find something you might like. So I would love to trade if possible because I'm cheap. I would love to trade anybody just to have a few backups. Again, I don't think they're an overly popular disc. it's just one that I particularly enjoy. So
Disc Golf Comedy asks, hey, Disc Golf Guy, have you ever thrown or bagged a DGA blowfly? Never. I'll speak for you because I'll speak for myself as well, but I don't think we've ever officially bagged one.
no.
But we have thrown them.
Yes.
That was one of the more fun discs to throw because I think we've said this before. It's gummy, it's gooey. You almost can't hurt anything with it.
Yeah.
And so I specifically recall one of the worlds we were at. It might have been Houston, but I can't nail it down. Us out in a full parking lot late at night, just chucking a blowfly over cars and not caring because it didn't really matter if it hit a car because it wasn't going to do anything. And we were dumb kids. Kids don't do that at home because you're going to dent a car unless you're throwing a blowfly.
Yeah.
And it was just it was super soft and it was fun. It's a really fun disc to play and throw around, but I don't think we've ever officially bagged one in a bag.
No, the blowflies and the gum putts were, two very, very, very soft discs that were, I don't want to call them novelties, but I didn't have a practical use. And I'll go ahead and say I'm not a big fan of throwing really soft discs in the first place. So, and if you don't enjoy throwing a soft disc, then you're probably not going to enjoy a gum putt or a blowfly or a blowfly 2 or whatever. You laugh. There's a blowfly 2.
I know that I've
right. Confirm. I think there is.
I think there is. But.
Yeah. All right. So, do I have any Millennium? It's funny. I did find. Do
you have an LF 1.2?
I'm sure I do.
I know you do. I'm sure you do. I just laughed because when we were kids, that was like oh, you have a
LF and LSs.
Yeah, the LF and LS, the 1.2. It's got to be the 1.2 because the 1.3 was a little different. The 1.1, got to get that 1.2.
Also, Ryan Pilcher's out on the board says I need to try out the Hades. I have heard about their stabilities and that they supposedly go a long way.
I would like to try them because they're less stable than an Undertaker, correct?
I believe so, and I think supposedly faster.
And supposedly fast, which is crazy because I think the Undertaker is pretty fast. It's got a smaller rim. You had said that even when I tossed it to you to throw. I really like the way the Undertaker flies, but it's perfect for me into a little headwind. I can get it to stand up and go easily 350. And I'd love to try out a Hades at some point because I feel like I'm such a noodle arm these days. Like I feel as quote unquote far as I throw these days, which is 350. If I really crush one out there, we can get to about 400. But I'm throwing these days like leopards and beat T-birds, a beat up destroyer because everything else feels like it's too stable for me. Like that Undertaker, I throw a trespass as well, which is slightly beat. It gets up and does a nice S for me. I can't get over on anything anymore. And I don't know if it's just poor form. I'm sure it is. Playing lately, I've been like, wow, even my leopard, I lay into my leopard and it's a star leopard. It just stands up. It's not a leopard 3. It's just a leopard. It just stands up and goes straight and then hyzers out. I'm like, I can't even flip over a leopard these days.
I've got some great Disc Golf Guy Blizzard plastic.
I've got a few Blizzard pieces in there.
I could get you into. I got some 130 gram.
Some really old beat Eagles in there to get to flip over for the love of God.
We could get you into some of my 130 gram destroyers that I've got with my logos. Yeah,
nice.
Those will move for you.
I bet they will. It probably fly great for me.
I know. They're on sale.
Oh, really? How much? Like just 20?
2 for 30.
2 for 30. Oh,
yes.
I got a
cut
deal.
You a deal.
Cut me a deal. I do a couple discs out there. I do want to try a Thrasher. I've heard those are nice. I want to try the Hades. Eric Sander asked, what do you and I putt with? I particularly right now am putting with the Deputy, Burst Deputy, whatever their base plastic is. You are still putting with the AVRs?
Yeah, KC Pro AVRs. I found the 2 that Drew Gibson got rid of when he left Innova. And I don't recall exactly where we were, but he said, here, you can have these. And they feel really good. And I've now added them into my stack for when I need to go out and I've got a few extra minutes to throw a few putts before I get started on a league round. Thanks, Drew. Appreciate that. All right. Disc Golf Nerd. I assume, Disc Golf Nerd, you should let us know, but I assume you're working on some reviews of sorts. Let us know what's in your queue so that we can help actively promote that. David John keeps asking, who did everyone vote for? So if you want to put that in the chat, feel free.
Did you vote?
I have not.
You've not voted yet? Okay.
I'm instead waiting to stuff the ballots with my 2 daughters.
Oh, good call. And I was going to say, if you don't know who to vote for, because I voted yesterday, take a look when you go to click on the vote. Underneath of the thing is the
platform statement.
Is a platform statement from each player, from each candidate. So you can take a look at that. I voted for Nate Heinold.
Ooh.
And I'm not going to say who the other votes were.
Oh, wow! You can just tease it out there.
But I will say there are a lot of candidates. I would have no problem saying that I would support anyone that votes for Bob Foss, Dion Arlen, Jeff Hungerford. There's one other one I can't think of right now off the top of my head. But I think any of those 4, 5, 6 candidates, awesome. Good. You can't go wrong with any of them, I believe. And I think it's really just a personal preference at that point to looking at the platform, because there's a few of them out there. I honestly think that if I saw someone that said, I voted for this person, I would think twice about that person. I would think twice and go, why would you vote for that person?
Wow.
And just not that they're bad people, just I wouldn't particularly understand the thought process behind it. So that's as far as I'll say with that. So so I'm not gonna.
Wow, Disc Golf Comedy going out on out public with it, saying Disc Golf Comedy endorses Dion.
Wow.
As he's saying out there. Ryan Pilcher's saying you might like the lighter weight Hades. You probably would like the Heat as well. So enough.
I think the Heat might be a little too flippy for me from what I've seen, but maybe not.
And then Disc Golf Nerd does give us an update here, so be looking for these in terms of some disc reviews. He says Hades, Malta, Page, Tour Buzz, Latitude, Havoc, etc. are all in the works. So, okay, look for those. Seth Steinway, who I think was in person consuming some of the Silver Cup this weekend, says he is currently admiring his Ledgestone Jawbreaker Comet, red, white, and blue swirls. Beautiful disc.
Seth? He's just taunting you. He's literally taunting you on your own show.
I don't care what it looks like. I just want to throw it. And in terms of Tour Series AVRs are getting talked about. Yeah, I'm a big fan of beads. One thing that
I mean, yeah, your bedroom door, just beads now?
Just beads all the way down. I've got beads all over in my bedroom.
Yeah. You're a big fan of Mardi Gras. Always you're like, let me get some beeds.
Yep.
And,
Just
the shirt comes off.
All beads everywhere. I can't. They're just everywhere. Anyway, all right. Do you have anything worthwhile to talk about? Oh, God,
no. This is just fun.
I think we've spewed on long enough here for now.
We do have to do the Patreon giveaway.
Yes, of course.
At some point.
All right. Well, why don't we do that? Do our Patreon giveaway. Johnny V is going to pull up random.org, and while he's doing that, and I'm looking at random.org, I'll also let you guys know if you are looking to ship any of your box or ship any discs. I have just the box for you. My disc in a box.
Or if you're looking to ship a box, Terry could probably make a box.
I could do that as well. But if you're looking to ship one disc, maybe 2 discs, or even 3 discs in a single box, I've got your solution. My disc in a box coming to you. I do have that shipping solution along with bags. In all seriousness, they're obviously disc trading and selling has become more insane now than ever before. And if you want to ship something that's not just the old method of throwing it in maybe a bubble wrap envelope or bubble mailer, hoping that it won't get bent, and you want to ship it in a box, I do offer those in 100 count quantities. So reach out to me. All right, Johnny.
Patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. Like I said, if you enjoy what we do, send us a buck. If you don't enjoy what we do, send us $3 because maybe we'll stop if we get enough money.
Yes.
Or
we'll just cash out.
Yeah, we'll cash out.
And then you'll be done with us.
So honestly, if that's the way to go.
Yes, we could be bought off.
The more people support us, the more likely we are to take the money and run. So the higher
that's
you
the smart
go,
move.
I'm just saying it's really helping yourself. We have 197 people. I want to give a shout out to. We had a couple people join this in the last week or so. So
those crazy people.
I want to say thank you to all our new patrons out there. I have sorted the Patreon list by join date of all things. So
with oldest being first.
So I'm. Let me take a look here real quick.
So if a low number is selected, we'll know just how supportive you've been of us.
Yes,
Is that a good way to say it?
That is a good way to say it. For instance, our very, very top number one, Andrew Clayson.
Oh, Andrew,
who was like the night we signed up, the 2016. He was on that.
Well, thank you, Andrew.
Yeah,
you may possibly.
So he's number one, and I'm going to scroll all the way down. Number 197 right now, Ed Radakovitz. Or Radakovitz, something like that. So that's where we're at. Everywhere in between. I want to give a shout out to everybody there.
All right.
So between 1 and 197, Terry, what number do we want to give?
We had a pair of champs from Silver Cup. So let's go with number 2.
All right, number 2. So our first number
Dana.
is 21. That's an early one. Our second number is 174.
Holy cow, they're cashing in. They're going to quit being a Patreon subscriber. They've just won a disc.
Let me scroll down because I just scrolled all the way up to the top
They
of the
just
list.
won a disc, and they're like, oh, I got my money's worth. I'm out.
Matt Schenk. Congratulations, Matt Schenk. You know who's right above Matt Schenk? Tyler Brickley. Too bad, Tyler Brickley.
Ouch, Tyler. You're the first loser.
173. This is 174. This is Matt Schenk. So Matt Schenk, you can look forward to hopefully getting that Shrike that Terry was talking about.
Yes.
And if that's the case, I'm going to write Terry a note to make sure that he, gives you that same right Shrike.
Yes. Thank you so much, Matt. And not so much as you, Tyler. Well, I mean,
not so much, Tyler.
Win. Yeah. Excuse me. Do we have anything else that we need to cover here tonight? As I'm looking, David John says, not a 5-hour podcast tonight. No, it looks like it's going to go a little bit shorter. So if you need to head over to Joe Rogan, you can.
3 hours, 9 to 12. Yeah, 3 hours. We've been pretty consistent with that for a few months, and then I think it was last week we went real long, and this week we're going a little shorter.
Yeah, whatever it might be.
I mean, we got everything we needed. We had 2 great champions and Ricky Wysocki. Hey-o. Just teasing. Yeah, we had Dana, Ricky, Lisa, and we got to talk Law and Order. It's a great night.
Yeah.
You don't get any better than that.
I think actually you do. Is there anything else in the disc golf news web sphere that was usually you think about Simon vlogs and trick shot videos. I think there's a tournament going on in Virginia this weekend. I know that was talked about. I think I saw in the news that Kevin Jones was opting out of traveling, maybe to Alaska. I don't know. I think that was maybe on his radar at one point, but then he's recently announced that he's not going to be traveling. We know the whole Dynamic Disc crew is up in Alaska for that event, so I know that's happening. I'm just trying to think if there was any other major topics that were in the disc golf news as so much of the community actually came to Wisconsin this weekend. But I think we've covered pretty much everything that was major. I don't know why I can't get into the internets.
I don't know.
Tell everybody your password. Oh, here we go. We'll see if this works.
You know my password.
No, I don't, but we'll see if this one works so we can get back on the internet.
Ay, Terry Miller. No, I haven't seen anything. There was talk earlier about Eagle's Instagram and showing off some feet or something, which I haven't seen.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to see.
Yeah, I don't know if that. I have not looked into it, but there's, I believe, a new Instagram account that's like Eagle McMahon's feet is the login, and I'm assuming it's not Eagle and that someone else is going with some kind of comedic front on it, but if maybe it is Eagle and he's got a very different approach to how he's going to take on his social media, but I'm not really sure how that is.
Well, whatever the deal is with that, that's fine. I talked a little bit with Hannah Macbeth about their podcast, and she's excited because I think she interviewed Lisa as well this week, and I turned Hannah onto a service that will help improve the quality of the audio for their podcast, so she's really excited about that. So you should be seeing some pretty good sounding audio out of their podcast, The Party, which is a really great name for a podcast, I think.
Oh, like party.
It's a party.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it now.
That's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah. One thing, major milestones that we did gloss over. Yes. Paige Pierce, of course, getting to her new FPO highest rating ever of 988. So congratulations to Paige Pierce for doing so. Incredible, as everyone continues to talk about if or when she may crest that 1,000 point barrier. Wow. And
I went on record saying I didn't think she'd ever do it. And
dang.
Well, I think I said that like last year when the big talk was, and I'll say I'm less sure now than I was before.
Really, as she's gotten closer.
As she's gotten closer.
Wow.
There's yeah.
You know what I'm sure of? The last week's winning lottery numbers. I know what those are.
Sure?
I got those dialed in now.
That's good.
Are they doing the lottery? That's a side note.
I'm sure they are.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Go on.
I'm sure they are. I still think there's a very large hill for her to climb.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 12 more points she needs.
Mm-hmm. Which are the toughest,
obviously, but
okay. So
I'm shaking my head here because there's talk of Paul Macbeth had made someone asked Paul about inflation of ratings, and Paul made a kind of a crack saying, "I don't know about inflation when I'm the only one going up," or something along those lines. You know, throw a little shade there. But I don't necessarily think that's true. With the men, there are more men hitting, your 1030 to 1040 ratings. And I think, if I remember correctly, that is pushing ratings up a little bit. Like, because you're taking a full rating pool and somehow making all that work. So the more it goes up, whatever. With the women, the more women that are in there, and we see the women's kind of starting to push up as well. They're going into 930s, 940s, 950s. A bigger portion of these women, that's more points in the pool. That might help Paige elevate up to that 1,000 rating. I'll say this: if she gets there, I don't think it's going to be for at least another 3 to 4 years. But
I think it would get there quicker than that if it's going to happen.
But I don't know.
I think it'll be quicker. She
is on a tear. That's to say the least.
Yeah, she. So congratulations to her. Also saw Sarah Hokum has gotten to a new career
highest rated women.
Yeah, at 975. So congratulations to
Paul's
Sarah
at 1062.
And Paul, I believe, went to 1062, if I recall seeing, I don't know, a headline or something.
And maybe I'm wrong on how those ratings work, but it's it's just such a hard. Again, it's such a hard climb for the FPO to get to that 1,000 with what they have.
Correct. I think Elaine King was actually, her and her husband went and played over in Virginia this weekend. I think they were, or today, I think they were actually at maybe either Paul and Hannah's house. Playing the new course, or maybe a course near there, something of that nature. Here's a line I'll vehemently disagree with.
Good.
Out here on the board, someone said, Dustman says, I feel like some of these young guns will surpass Paul before long. I don't.
No.
And I guess before long is a pretty subjective term that we could all argue about, but
I think
I don't see.
Calvin's the only guy. Not the only. I take it back. Eagle as well, and you can consider. I guess I still consider Eagle one of the young guys. I think Eagle has the potential to, if he can square in that mental game, he has the potential to best Paul on a more regular basis. But Calvin, I feel like, is Kelvin's, I think, is even. I mean, he's higher rated and this and that, and it's no surprise that Kelvin's like the second best player in the world right now. Kelvin's clearly closer, but I mean, I guess to mean like when you say surpass Paul, what do you mean?
Yeah, do you just mean with the new
rating?
High rating?
Because would it shock me if in 5 years somebody's rated higher than Paul? No. If we saw, let's say, just pretend Paul peaks at 1062. Would it shock me if in 5 years Kelvin is rated 1063? No. Like the more players,
it kind of would me.
The more I don't it wouldn't mean Paul, or he's at what, like Kelvin's at what, 1048, something like that. He's way up there. Like it's and as I said, if I'm correct in how the ratings work, the more players that are higher rated, the more points there are in the pool, the higher up they kind of go. It is kind of like inflation, but it's no. But and again, that's, you want to say surpass him as the highest rated ever? Fine. Like I don't see that as surpassing Paul when it comes overall to a player.
No, so, you're using just they're referencing one specific benchmark per se. Yeah. I do like this, and I don't think it's necessarily going to happen, but maybe something's in the works. Disc Golf Comedy says, hot take, UDisc should be put in charge of overhauling the rating system and making it easier to use and understand. Now, there's a couple of things to unpack there.
Yeah.
But there is something really simple and beautiful about that suggestion and that idea.
I'll let you talk before I go.
Well, to me, the rating system is a little bit of the PDGA's, I don't want to say secret sauce.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I don't want to say it's that. There's a secret sauce in making the ratings and having them exist. There is a certain benefit to them owning, possessing, regulating, and running them. I don't know what the term is that I'm looking for, but it's not a secret. It's a value add to the PDGA. So therefore, if you relinquish that, if you give that up, if you outsource that, if you share all of those details, intimate details, and you give that away to someone else, or you, like I said, you sell it off or siphon it off, then I feel like you are taking away a significant portion of what so many people love about the advantage of having a PDGA membership. And I don't want to say it's like giving away your superpower, but it kind of would. And now on the flip side of that coin, do you want to say, could the ratings be a little easier to understand so that we have a better, we can talk about them maybe a little more eloquently and with a little deeper understanding? Yeah, maybe. The problem is once everybody knows how it works exactly, then then at that point I feel like you might be giving away some of the ingredients to the secret sauce. So I can understand it and see it both ways.
You bore me. No, here's a little more wide thought on ratings and stats in general. And I hope nobody takes any offense to this because I truly do love the UDisc guys. But I still have a slight worry in I don't know what the deal is between UDisc and the PDGA. But let's pretend something happened to the UDisc guys. They get a great offer. They go away.
Yeah, they get gobbled up by, we'll just say MLB or
sure.
By golf.
Sure, so something like that.
PGA says, "Hey, we love what you do. We want to hire you for
here's $1 million.
Yeah,
here's whatever." All the stats that are right now in UDisc, who do those stats belong to? Circle 2 percentages. Circle 1, greens and regulations. PDGA has that's nowhere on the PDGA page.
Mm-hmm.
That is all UDisc. Those are literally UDisc stats.
Isn't there an argument here?
That's what I'm saying. Like, whose stats are they? Can I go to UDisc's site right now, take all of their information, pull it, and put it into my own? Can I constantly just like scrape their site.
Here, let me try and let me write up a program quick. Scraped.
Okay. I think you just chatted on the board.
Shoot. Okay, next time.
So who owns those stats? The players?
I mean, yeah, that's funny because
the PDGA? Can the PDGA, like, I mean, we all talk about the stats. We use the stats, but all those stats are put in from UDisc.
But by volunteers usually. Do the volunteers own the stats? Do the caddies?
Good question. Like there's the old question, like if I take your phone and take a picture, who owns the photo? It's the person apparently who takes the picture. If the volunteers are putting the stats in, do they own the stats? So and here as someone who wants things, and I know you and I tend to differ a lot on this subject, I want things more open and less proprietary, especially when it comes to our stats. With the PDGA, they are a governing body. If I talk to the PDGA and say, hey, I would love an API access into your stats, PDGA usually says, okay, tell us what you're using it for. They might charge a minimal fee to access or whatever, and then they give it to me. UDisc has no, they don't have any obligation to do that. And let me be totally frank and clear. I've talked to the UDisc guys about this. They are working on it, on getting people access. So it's not like they're withholding this by any means. I am just putting this out here. Like, the PDGA is the governing body. So do the stats belong to the sport, or do they right now belong to UDisc? That's my question. Like, UDisc holds a lot of cards for a lot of things. Like, if we want information, we got to go through them.
Yeah, and I feel like
they built it, and they have every right to it. It's just such a weird thing, because in other sports that's very similar. Like Elias collects all the stats for Major League Baseball and NBA and things like that. But I don't exactly know how the Elias system works. Do they share that with MLB? Does MLB have access to that? Is it like a co-owned thing? Does MLB license Elias to get those stats? And I don't know. Maybe Daniel on the board is.
I feel like whoever buys the Disc Golf Pro Tour card with the stats printed on the back then owns the stats in the most literal sense.
Do you? That's a great question.
I know.
Does the DGPT have to ask UDisc to use those stats? I mean, there might be something in the contract like, hey, every month when we pay you whatever to use the UDisc, you can have access to the stats. But if Johnny V right now wanted to say, I'm going to come out with my own Pro Tour cards, my own tour cards, can I just grab all those stats on there without even thinking, without asking UDisc, because they're public? They're literally on their site. That doesn't, just because something's on a website doesn't give me the right to take it.
Damn it.
I know. See?
Damn it. There goes my next. There goes my next plan. My next invention for Kleenex.
There's a bigger question here as far as what rights do the players have to their own stats? What rights does the PDGA have to the Pro Tour and National Tour and all these other PDGA stats? And maybe this is something that's been thought about and it's in a contract behind the scenes that nobody's ever seen. I don't know. And I've never asked them because it's never really, but it is something that's churned in the back of my head.
I feel like we should get Matt and Josh and Hype Man Dan, and then get Steve Gans.
Last time we had them on, they took down my power.
That's true. Then we get Steve Gans, Joe Chargaloff, and then we'll sprinkle in some Jeff Spring from the Pro Tour. I say we have a round table, and then we just ask a whole bunch of really awkward questions, just trying to put each person in some kind of awkward. So when you guys want to sign up for that, we're here for you.
And this kind of goes back to the PDGA ratings, in that it is a secret sauce. It is a proprietary formula in order to get the initial stat. Like once those ratings are out there for rounds and stuff, you can figure out your rating. Like you can go back and look at the last 10, double them, and then your last year, add them all up, figure it out. That's fine. That's the easy part. The hard part is determining what that round rating will be even before. So when someone says, I think UDisc should just run those stats, me personally, I get a little knot in my gut and I go, should they? Like, do we want UDisc in charge of ratings as well as all the stats? Do we want, like, because would it shock me if UDisc came out with their own rating? We've seen other companies. Infinite Disc had a rating system for, I think it was for amateur players when you could just put it in their system. And it wouldn't surprise me to see UDisc do something like that. Like, based on, we have access to the PDGA, so we know that this course played as, par was a 980. You shot a 1 over on your UDisc. Oh, look, you shot like a 972 or something, according to a guesstimate on your PDGA rating. That's all out there. That information is there. I worry about the future of the sport because I worry that maybe someday someone won't be here. The PDGA, I feel like, will always be there. It's kind of they are the rock. I don't know if UDisc is going to be there. I assume they will. I don't think they're going anywhere. I just like, it's, we've said the same thing about the DGPT. Like, if Smashbox goes away for some reason, I get hit by a car, you get hit by, we get hit by a car.
I'm driving.
That you're driving probably. They're out live temporarily until they can hire a new crew and build up the system that we have built up. So I always worry about single points of failure, and I kind of feel like right now we have Matt and Josh, but UDisc in the grand scheme of things is still a single point of failure. And people are saying, well, PDGA should just buy them. Why? Why would UDisc sell?
Yeah.
Like, what does UDisc have to gain from that? And why would the PDGA, when in theory the PDGA could build their own and has their own app? It's not as nice as UDisc. It doesn't do all the stats that UDisc does. The PDGA could build that out in the next 5 years probably if they really wanted to, but they don't need to because they have UDisc right now. I don't see a reason why UDisc would sell to the PDGA and then now be under the thumb of the PDGA and be possibly restricted on what they want to do in the future. What are you chuckling at?
Ray says that Terry needs to look out for the Fulcrum bus, and that made me chuckle. Good call, Ray.
No, be nice to the Fulcrum guys. I mean,
no, I'm just saying if we're gonna get run over,
it might be the Fulcrum bus.
They might
actually,
be behind
I think
the
it was
wheel.
A van. They had the Fulcrum van at USDGC. It wasn't a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talk to the Fulcrum guy once in a while. He's a nice guy, but yes,
yeah.
But he could still try to kill us.
Yeah,
I mean,
I can be nice and still try to kill you.
That's true, and you have. I've driven with you in the winter.
Well, yeah. So it would be again, maybe everything we just discussed is either in black and white,
could be
signed, sealed, delivered, all that other stuff. It's possible all of that stuff, everything we just discussed, is done, contracted, taken care of, and whatnot. Clearly, we're just a couple of idiots speculating, which is no different than most Tuesday night. But just to throw out that disclaimer, we don't know, and there could be some things, or maybe these guys are all sitting there biting their nails right now, saying, "Yeah, that is kind of awkward," and we really don't have that. We don't that. I'll admit we really don't know. Now, David Johns really
think about this. What if UDisc just decided, we're not getting enough money, we're going to put all the stats behind a paywall. If you want access to it, you got to pay us.
Subscribe to SmashBoxxTV.
You
Patreon.
have to subscribe to UDisc and say, if you want the player stat, if you want to see all our player stats, you have to pay us, $200 a year, and then you get access to all the stats for the players. You can see the raw score, but we're keeping all those stats behind a paywall now. What do we do?
I'm guessing right now, and this is nothing more than a guess, is that UDisc specifically has a some form of contract with the Disc Golf Pro Tour in terms of what it's showing and what's viable and what's available. I'm guessing they also have some kind of a contract
with
exactly
PDGA.
what you're just saying with regards to the
agree.
PDGA. I'm assuming that's all in place right now. Now, could there be variations? Could they continue to develop things that you find in UDisc Pro that's not in the free? Of course, I'm sure they're thinking about. Those guys are 1,000 times smarter than us. So
yeah, I mean, the PDGA does it. You can't get your rating unless you're a PDGA member.
Correct. Yep.
So, I mean, there's precedent for it. Is the thought is, well, those are my rounds. I should be able to see what I shot and whatever. And that's not necessarily the case.
Well, not when you're playing a PDGA sanctioned event. There's certain things that you're.
Yeah. Again, just food for thought. I completely and 100% trust the UDIS guys. They're great guys. They're, as Terry said, they're way smarter than us. And
it's not even fair to really talk about them in the same sentence as us.
To be fair, I'm taller than both of them, so they can suck it.
Are you taller than Josh?
Oh yeah. Josh is not 6'6". Josh is a tall guy, but he's not as tall as me.
All right, maybe.
He's nicer and smarter.
Yes.
But I'm taller.
Okay.
And that's what and
we
in life,
all know that.
That's what really matters. That's what
call.
I have determined.
All right. So David John out there has now, I think, said a couple times that maybe yelled that there's some inaccuracies within the UDIS scoring. And there absolutely can be. Absolutely.
Not just can be, but did you see the whole thing with Greg Barsby?
No, that's what he's barking about on the board, and I haven't seen it, so I can't speak to it right now.
It was at the preserve.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody had put in, like, he was hitting a bunch of circle 2 putts, and they were literally drop-ins. So whoever was keeping score either somehow screwed it up or just was purposefully screwing up the hit, or won't say screwing up, pumping up Barsby stats. And I don't know if that's the case or if they just didn't understand the app.
Some form of,
or there was I doubt there was a UDIS glitch, but someone had gone through, and Dixon, I believe on his podcast, had even stated how he talked to Josh from UDIS about it, and Josh was actually thinking about going back and watching the coverage because it was recorded and fixing those stats. I don't know if he ever did.
It sounds like it, because Ryan Pilcher, our resident smart guy, has chimed in saying the scorekeeping is very easy to take the stats. There's normally not significant errors. If there are big errors, the stats either get fixed or just get deleted. Barsby's stats were fixed. So one advantage of it, in this case, being on film, somebody can go back and fix it to the best of their abilities when that's a possibility. I'll admit there's been times where I've either accurately and inaccurately reported
your scores.
I'm editing around, and I'll see, we'll just make up his name, Greg Barsby is listed as hitting a 75-footer on this hole, and I either filmed it and or I'm editing it, and I'm like, oh no, he was inside circle 2, not circle 3, so to speak. And I've passed that word along to Matt or Josh, and they'll make a correction. So if there's something like that they can, of course, they don't want any errors out there.
I mean, with Barsby's, it was like 8 or 9 holes the guy they had screwed up, and it wasn't just one where it was like, oh yeah, he put him in as a circle 2. Because Dixon even said, like, wow, Barsby hit like 200 and some feet worth of putts.
Yeah, I feel like I even mentioned it. It was not
even close. Like,
interesting.
Whoever was keeping score was just either bad or was messing around with the stats and maybe just screwing around on purpose, not realizing like that this is quote unquote important. And define important, but Barsby's long-term stats, that would all probably even out in a couple of years. But in a microcosm, it's
it jumps off the page.
It jumps off the page.
Yeah. Cody asks, oh boy, maybe we do need a certified official on every card. That's not going to happen.
There's not enough manpower.
There's not enough manpower. We're just. I can't say it's never going to happen, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. And quite frankly, I don't want it to happen anytime soon. And we could beat the argument to death about who deserves officials. You could have one official calling things on one card one way. You have another official calling things another way. We're just not that deep in our sport enough to have qualified people in enough positions when we're already lacking sometimes on spotters, on scorekeepers, on so many other tasks. I just don't think we're there yet. We may get there, but I don't know if it's going to be in our lifetime that we're going to see that. Hype Man Dan says, I'd love for players, and Dan has frequently been out there and has UDISC'd, probably more lead cards than any other one individual for UDISC. And he says, I'd love for players to just report what they did to the scorekeeper. It's the most accurate way. As in saying, I got a 2, one tap for a 3, for example. 2, 1, tap for a 3. Oh, yeah. As in, I got a 2, 1, and then
and tap in for a 3 or something.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. Except for the only thing we've realized throughout all these years is some of the players don't like to even analyze or think about it themselves.
They would rather just blank it out.
Yeah, and that could be for a birdie or for a double bogey. They may sometimes get to the next hole and be like, yeah, I had an OB, a circle 2, a circle 1, another circle 1, a C1X. Like, they may not want to report some of that stuff, and I can understand that. If you're playing well and you birdie every hole, it might be exciting to call those things out. You're struggling, the last thing you want to do is miss from 68, miss from 62, roll away to 30. Like, some of those things they may not want to call out. So I do want to make one clarification to all of this, and then we'll move on from UDisc and stats. The scorekeepers themselves are not creating, are not inputting numbers and making stats in that. They're not making their own stats. Those are all coding and algorithm. So when someone goes up, they'll say where they threw from, and the UDisc does the rest from there. Might be a slight adjustment as to, hey, this was made from middle of circle 2 versus this was made from 128 feet. I get that.
When you're inside of circle 2, in that circle 1 and circle 2, it gives you a range. It asks you like, when you say it in the bucket or in the basket, and it'll ask you, oh, cool, was that from circle 1, circle 2, circle 2, and then it gives you like a range of distances. But outside of circle 2, it actually does ask you, it's a slider for a distance.
But I'm just saying, you're not in there as the scorekeeper. You're not like, oh, let me just, I'm going to punch this in. I'm going to punch in his circle 2 putting today. Like, you're not touching it. Those are all calculated codes that are calculated out. All right.
I think we've
touched
beat enough on
UDisc
stats
to death.
And yes, everybody. I saw something on the board I wanted to bring up before we close it up. Oh, have you guys mentioned how awesome Parsave Productions footage is looking? We did not mention it, but yes, they were the guys who were doing MPO 1 this particular weekend at Silver Cup. And they are. I mean, everybody says that they do an awesome job, and they do. The one knock on them usually is just the speed at which they get it out. And for fair or not, like, I believe this particular weekend, Parsave had agreed to do MPO 1. The Disc Golf Pro Tour put out an announcement about who's covering, and in there was mentioned next day coverage. Whether it was, and I believe Parsave went out on a web board and said, we didn't promise next day coverage. We like to do it when we can, but they ran into issues with internet and a couple other little things here and there, so they were having a hard time getting it up next day. But their defense was, we didn't promise next day coverage. Somebody else had posted that and kind of put them under the spotlight, which is unfortunate for Parsave. But on the other hand, with these Pro Tour events, whether it's Silver Series or whatever, there's now an expectation of next day coverage, whether you agree to it or not, and that is probably a communication thing that the Silver Series needs to make sure to be clear about. That is something that the Pro Tour needs to be clear about, and needs to be clear about to the production companies.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think it's anyone's particular fault this weekend. It just, that was their big knock. People were chomping at the bit for the lead card coverage, and it didn't, I don't think the Friday coverage came out until Sunday morning.
I think so.
I think it was Sunday morning. So I saw some things online, and when it came out, it looks awesome. Like, they have some great graphics, and what everybody loves at the end of each hole, you see the little map where everybody threw to, and it's really cool. But all those graphics take time.
Yeah.
And it's tough, and it's not as we've said here a dozen times, it's not an easy gig to get into, because there's now this expectation. There's a level of professionalism and expectation that people want to see. And if you don't hit it, man, some people are rough and some people are fine. Like, yeah, it's just a Silver Series event. No one really cares. But Some people do.
Yeah, well, I think there is just all of the events need to be really clear, and I think also that you're going to see hopefully some more, I don't want to call it offense, but you're going to see hopefully some more communication from the Pro Tour to let people know that the Silver Series events are not live.
Correct.
And you know, when you're paying, what you're going to get for paying for Disc Golf Network, whatever that might be. And Johnny and I are not on that decision board of everything that does or doesn't get included in Disc Golf Network. But just know that if you're subscribing to Disc Golf Network, I feel like the biggest takeaways are some exclusive content with regards to things like a few podcasts that are being available or that are being produced and are available. A few other inside looks at some possible interviews, like I said, interviews and or podcasts. And then also you're going to always have access to the first 2 days of live coverage at the premier Pro Tour Series events. It has, I would say, very little to almost no guarantees with regard to what you're going to see from the Silver Series events with relation to Disc Golf Network. Now, I'm not going to go on and on with what that may or may not mean. I'd like them to continue to clarify it so I don't misspeak on either the Pro Tours or Disc Golf Network's behalf. But I think that was one of the biggest frustrations or confusion, places for confusion this weekend, is everyone's like, but it's a Pro Tour event. Where's our live coverage? And it's like, there was never an opportunity or an instance where we were going to be doing live for this Silver Series Pro Tour event. People that were expecting it, unfortunately, were just fabricated it on their own and then were let down when it didn't happen.
I will go out on a not so far limb and say there will be no live coverage of any Silver Series events this year.
Unless there's something we wildly don't know about.
Correct.
Or we'll add that clarifier.
Unless something changes, because right now we are not
scheduled.
We're not scheduled to do any of that. Now, if that changes in the future, if Jeff comes and says, "Oh man, this event, we got some great sponsor and we want to do it and we're free," that could change. But as of right now, we have no plans to do Silver Series live this year. That very well will and could change in the future, I'm sure. But right now, and I'll say this, Silver Cup probably ain't ever going to be live. That location is horrible for cell signal.
Yeah.
Like we were on the phone trying to talk to somebody there, and it literally kept cutting out on them. The phone signals are just, that is like a dead area for cell. It's just outside the city. It's right by the lake. We haven't tested it with our new unit so much, but everybody that goes there is always like, "What's going on with my phone?"
Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth. This weekend had never planned on being live. So
yeah, Ray says, if I subbed for Disc Golf Network, the first day of the preserve, will my 1 month last until DGLO?
I don't know the exact dates, but I would assume you get 30 days.
I would assume it's going to be roughly 30 or 31 days. If I had to make an assumption. So I would think you'd be good, considering if you sub the first time of DGLO, let's just say that, or I'm sorry, the preserve, let's say you did that roughly July 2nd. DGLO is the 24th, 25th, and 26th.
Yeah,
so
yeah, you should definitely get
I would think that you would get, you should be able to get it if my months are, unless Disc Golf Network has a special definition of month.
Our new 20-day month.
Yeah.
We'll quick couple things before we close out the night. Is there live coverage this weekend? No. The next live coverage will be DGLO, where we'll be there, and then obviously all the Pro Tour events. What are your projections for the future of disc golf? Better coverage, more coverage, better players, more events. Should us be awesome? That's my.
I would not count on that. Do not take that to the bank. Do not buy any stock in that.
Load up on stock.
Do not put your 401k, your Roth IRA, none of that.
Send your 401k to me.
Nope.
Right
and
to
nope.
the Patreon. No,
Do
just send
not
it to me
count on
personally, because then Terry doesn't get a cut. And the other one was Silver Series will be live in 5 years. Tell me I'm wrong. You're wrong. It'll probably be sooner than that. If I had to take a guess,
it very well could be.
If I had to take a guess, I would say 2 years. I won't say next year, because I don't know what the Silver Series looks like. But if I had to take a guess, it'd probably be 2 years.
I won't take any guesses, but I will say
like
short of 5 years, I think would be very practical. Disc golf available on Pirate Bay. I don't think that it is, but I'll go check.
I don't know, but there, like I said, there was a pirated stream of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and there was a live pirated stream, I know, where someone was actually watching live, and there was someone took a copy of the live stream and put it on YouTube, and it got smacked down real quick, real fast with real lawyers. So
Ouch, don't do that.
Yeah, if you're tempted to do something like that, remember that there is some real power behind the Pro Tour. We're not like, it's real live money and power, and it's not a thing I would mess with. Just throwing it out there that it's not a good idea.
You know what they say?
And it hurts. Honestly, it does. It hurts us. It hurts Smashbox. It hurts the cameramen. It hurts the event. It hurts the Pro Tour. It's literally some of these guys like Terry and our cameraman. It's their livelihood. We're not Netflix where, you go into Pirate Bay and you're like, well, I want to watch the new episode of Stranger Things. I'm going to download it. We're not a big company. So it is directly affecting us. So just remember that. That's all.
As you guys all remember, homie, don't play that.
Homie, don't play that. And then he would hit you.
Yeah,
Dunk.
yeah. And
Homie,
I will
don't play
walk
that.
around and I will hit you with a whale sack. And I'll have Tina.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have Tina
So
do
you
up.
won.
It'll be sponsored, of course, by Whale Sacks.
Of course.
I'll have Tina do up a specific whale sack with the Disc Golf Pro Tour. It'll be extra larger than the ones they already make. And then I just get to walk around the course and then hit you and say,
But you have to dress like a clown.
oh yeah, I will. I'm good with
More.
that. I mean, I always have a
More
red
so.
face and a red nose. And what do I have to say? Homie, don't play that, or will I say disc golf guy, don't play that?
I will give you the leeway to decide.
Okay. Or DGPT, don't play that. And then I smack you over the head with a whale sack.
Yeah.
Oh my! This actually sounds. That sounds delightful.
It does. And we can get it live. I just want to see in the background, Terry, whack.
Some guy's watching. I sneak up on somebody and he's watching a pirated version of it on the course.
Because you would know from
Yes. And then I just smack him.
That's great.
That's exactly. Good old homie to clown. All right, guys, we're going to call it. We appreciate you guys for joining us, even for our silliness in the after show.
Thank you.
Where disc golf takes a backseat to everything else, it feels like. But we're ready to go. Yet again, Ricky, congratulations, along with Lisa Fajkus this weekend, along with Dana Vicich.
State champion.
State champion, Dana.
Is Dana better because he's champion of an entire state? The other two just won basically
one
the
event.
city, an event.
Yeah, one
city.
event.
Dana had a whole state.
Just
saying.
He does. He's the state rep. Who knows? Yes, we'll be in Charlotte for the DGPT Championship. Come on now. Of course we'll be there. We'll be there for you guys. For all of us, for all the people we tried not to offend in any given area, and all the people that support us somehow. The PDGA, the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and all the other amazing supporters and sponsors. Disc member and Disc Golf Nerd and Ace Run Productions, Disc Baron, all of those people. We appreciate it. And the people that reach out to me with Jawbreaker comments. For Johnny V, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, we'll see you guys for episode number 307 next week when you step inside the Smash Box.